Thomason. Darlene Graham will get the chance to carry on her late brother's legacy in the U.S. Senate. She's won the Republican Senate runoff in South Carolina, hoping to win election to the seat that was held by Senator Lindsey Graham. Darlene thanks President Trump for his endorsement, saying it made all the difference.
Mr. President, Lindsey truly loved you and viewed you as one of his closest friends. I appreciate that bond and appreciate all that you've done for our country. Our victory would not have been possible without you, and we are truly grateful.
New developments are giving Republicans fresh momentum as they defend their Senate majority in the 2026 midterm.
The GOP holds a 53-47 Senate edge. Democrats need 4 net pickups to gain the majority, and they face headwinds. Analysts point to evidence of persistent Democratic bias in polling and historical summer polling bumps that are likely fading. The race is tightening in Michigan, while Alaska moves toward Republicans. With most vulnerable seats in states won by President Trump, Republicans maintain a strong structural advantage. Ken Lorman reports.
The U.S. and Canada are ramping up their trade war, hitting each other with steep new retaliatory tariffs. The world is united in grief. People across the globe bid farewell to Dolly Parton. Country music icon and actress, philanthropist, and businesswoman has died following a brief battle with cancer. She's to be laid to rest at a private service for family. Dolly Parton was 80. And not related to her passing, it just so happens that the next tropical storm that will form out in the Atlantic is to be named Dolly. Wall Street, Dow futures 33 points higher. The NASDAQ futures down 53. S&P futures off 5 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-844-7344. 866-844-7344.
There's been a tragic hospital fire in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. The victims, the most vulnerable among us.
The fire broke out on the 3rd floor in the mother and child unit at PIMS Hospital. According to their spokesperson, 15 newborn babies were in the ward at the time. 14 are now confirmed to have died from the fire. There has been no official confirmation about what caused the fire to start. Officials say they are investigating. TV satellite vans now line the outside of the hospital's perimeter, waiting for news. Pakistan's Prime Minister has called the fire tragic and expressed his condolences to the families of the children.
As for the cause, the BBC's Carrie Davis says speculation focuses on an air conditioning compressor that rescue officials say exploded inside the nursery. Iran and Oman say their top diplomats have met to discuss a phased approach to managing ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. News and analysis, townhall.com. What's in a name? The Trump administration says in this case, a lot.
The Department of Justice is arguing that if President Donald Trump's name is not on the Kennedy Center, that donor money for renovations will dry up, leading to its closure. The debate over adding Trump's name to the center meant to honor John F. Kennedy has been ongoing. The center's Trump-aligned board recently voted to add the phrase restored and renovated by President Donald J. Trump. Democratic Representative Joyce Beatty, an ex officio member of the Kennedy Center, opposes these changes, citing violations of the Kennedy Center statute. The Justice Department says that without Trump's name, the center will face financial ruin. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Chinese humanoid robot has set a new 100-meter sprint record of 8.86 seconds. This at a special humanoid robot competition in Beijing. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund. Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host Rick Hughes every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
People are out there saying, oh, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it. And if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
August 7th, and put at noon to 3. Michael Patrick Leahy moves to 3 o'clock, followed by Cats and Cosby at 5. America's new boss for conservative talk is the John Fredericks Media Network.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Saturday morning, 6 on the radio, 11 on JFMN.TV.
Good morning, and thank you for waking up with us on this Wednesday, August 26th, here on the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm Mike Coleman, filling in for your favorite producer, Dan Hobgood, once again, as he is in South Carolina with John Fredericks. He should be back in the captain's chair tomorrow, and for today, I'm going to give you your weather update, and then Outside the Box with the Ox, and then your favorite radio host, John Fredericks. Now, bringing you today's weather update is the Godzilla Wins radio show. For the best insight, analysis, and picks, watch and listen to Godzilla Wins Saturday morning from 9 to 11, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Plus, to get John's daily sports picks, go to GodzillaWins.com. Once again, that's GodzillaWins.com. You can also watch the show on Fire Stick, Roku, and on the JFMN.TV app. That's JFMN.TV. You can find it in your Google Play or App Store. Now, starting in Richmond, today is going to be partly sunny, reaching a high of 88. And tonight, a low of 69 with a 33% chance of a thunderstorm. Right now, 61 degrees and clear. In Philadelphia, today you'll see plenty of sunshine, reaching a high of 85, but it's going to feel like 89 degrees. And looking at tonight, a low of 69 and a possible shower. Currently, it's 65 and clear. In Pittsburgh, today will reach a high of 83 degrees, and tonight a low of 64 and partly cloudy. Currently it is 60 degrees with clear skies. Moving along to Nashville, today's going to reach a high of 93, but it's going to feel like 100 degrees. You'll see intervals of clouds and sunshine, and there's a 33% chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. Looking at tonight, it should reach a low of 68, and there is a 52% chance of a thunderstorm tonight, but it should only last about 2 hours. Currently, it is 67 degrees and mostly clear. In Morgantown, today you'll see a patchy fog this morning. Otherwise, plenty of sun and a few clouds, and a high of 84. And tonight, a low of 64 and partly cloudy. Currently, it is 58 degrees and clear skies. And finally, we are in Atlanta. Today should reach a high of 89, but it's going to feel like 100 degrees down in Atlanta. A heavy thunderstorm this afternoon, and looking at tonight, you'll see some more rain and a low of 72, and it's going to be rather cloudy after the thunderstorm clears out. Currently, it's 74 degrees and partly cloudy. Up next, Outside the Box with the Ox.
Target has a big, target on its back, so to speak. First, it was National Teachers Union's favorite bully, Randy Weingarten, advocating her members to boycott Target this year for back-to-school supplies and whatnot because everyone should hate the Minnesota-based retailer for not more publicly condemning Trump for sending ICE agents out hunting for illegals, and subsequently resulting in the deaths of 2 protesters. Oh, their CEO signed on to a letter back then calling for de-escalation, to which Weingarten basically replied,
"Not good enough. Not nearly good enough."
The latest societal infraction, an offensive Halloween costume. Included in a tweet from Afrocentric Films published by Reuters, the $25 costume was listed as the Kids Glows Under Backlight Circus Clown Halloween Costume Bodysuit from Target's Hide and Eek boutique line. The design featured an orange and black clown outfit, black gloves, and a dark face covering with an exaggerated smiling mouth. Close quote. Yeah, well, if they hadn't used a black child as the model wearing the costume, nobody would have connected it with blackface minstrel images from 100 years ago. But they did, so they did. Saying we're so sorry and pulling the costume, Target ran for the hills. A Google search for costumes from outside the box finds a scary clown outfit without the companion graphic of a blackface cartoon, a 4-piece sexy pirate wench costume for young girls, on sale for 49% off, a vampire Satan, and a scary evil skeleton nun.
Haven't you got any goddamn feelings about that?
Here outside the box with the Ox in the Eastern Time Zone and now in West Virginia on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Right now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineer sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
You hear a lot about weight loss injections because the results are dramatic, but injections aren't for everyone. So doctors created a new generation weight loss supplement. This is non-prescription lean, and the science behind it is impressive. The studied ingredients in lean are intended to address weight loss in 3 powerful ways: help maintain healthy blood sugar, help control appetite, and help convert fat into energy so you burn it faster.
Get 20% off with discount code Godzilla at takelean.com. Code Godzilla at takelean.com.
Found the truth still standing right. John Fredericks on the dial, cutting through the noise in style. If you want it straight, you know where to go. He rose like thunder, head to toe. John Fredericks Radio Network. John Fredericks Radio Network. Godzilla
live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network. It's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man with whom you can talk about playoffs, John Fredericks.
Well, welcome to the John Fredericks Media Network. Great to have you with us. I'm your host, your Godzilla of the Truth in America, coming to you live once again from Rock Hill, South Carolina. This was the supposed to be the victory party last night for Ralph Norman. It did not work out. As Darlene Graham winning South Carolina, we had a live show starting at 7 o'clock. Gave you the rundown there if you happen to be able to tune in. Hope you liked it. When we do these shows, it's a little bit different. It's the first time Dan really was here experiencing it. It's really like calling a baseball game. You know, we do it a little bit differently, and you know, we have our niche audience. There's no question about it. It's like an old Cubs game, you know, where you call in play by play. So it's a little bit different, and but we have a huge audience for that as we call the plays out. I want to thank Michael Aller for being with us last night. He did a super job. But it was a disappointing night. There was no question about it. Ralph Norman would have been an extraordinary member of the U.S. Senate, the most conservative member there. He would have backed MAGA. He was what I called MAGA 2.0 as we have to rebuild that post-Trump. But right now, when you look at the results, it was not close, to be honest. Graham winning by 5, about 20,000 vote margin she had. She seized the lead at the beginning of the night on the strength of Horry County, which is on the coast of Myrtle Beach, where she had a massive plurality there, and that's where Trump had the rally. Ralph Norman came back a little bit in the Greenville area in the northern end of the state where his base was, but he didn't get the turnout there. The big story of this race and why Darlene Graham won, obviously President Trump, but bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Let me give you the insight now so you really understand what's going on. President Trump not only came to Myrtle Beach to campaign for Darlene Graham in Horry County, which is on the coast, which was Graham's base and her brother's base, but he got the vote out. I mean, there was about 100,000 greater turnout than the Norman model expected. That sunk them. They really didn't expect it. And the turnout was in the coastal areas of the state, in their strongholds. That's where the turnout was huge. And this was all President Trump. When he did that rally in Myrtle Beach, he can still motivate his voters. They will still come out. I mean, this was a fourth primary. There was voter fatigue. Nobody expected, over 400,000 turnout. And that's what it was yesterday. It was projected to be about 300,000. So Trump went there. Not only that, but then the Republican Party under Tim Scott, the NRCC, and under MAGA, well, they did 80,000 get out the vote calls yesterday. They were on the phone incessantly, and they were getting out low propensity voters. Now, the bad news for Ralph Norman is that cost them this runoff, and it cost them a seat in the Senate. So that was the bad news. Right? The good news is he got his voters out in Rock Hill. He got his voters out in Greenville. Not enough. He made it competitive. But let me tell you the underlying message here. Okay? When you look at the numbers that were coming in last night, Trump's presence in South Carolina and President Trump's MAGA apparatus making those phone calls. He did a tele-rally, I think it was Monday night, where he had, like 100,000 people on the phone as he's done for us in Virginia and other areas. He was getting out, Dan, the lowest propensity. He was getting out R1 voters. R1 voters turned out in a 4-tier primary. I just want this to sink in. Okay, their machine last night got out R1 voters. Now they can get out. Here's the silver lining. And I'm as disappointed as you can imagine. I really thought we'd win last night. And it was very disappointing. And I talked to Ralph afterwards, and he was disappointed. I mean, we all thought it was a pathway for victory for him, and but Trump got the voters out, and he was getting out the lowest propensity Trump voters in a Republican primary where there was voter fatigue. And he did that through his rally in Myrtle Beach, and then they did it through get out the vote calls, and they did it through the tele-rally on Monday night, which had a massive turnout. So it tells you that when the president engages directly and makes the plea to get his voters out, he proved it last night, he has still got the juice. And wherever you stand on this is irrelevant. I am giving you the reality of what happened last night. The reality of what happened is he got lower propensity Trump voters out, and he got them out to vote for Darlene Graham. And the reason they came out for Darlene Graham is because he asked them to. That's why they came out in significant numbers. Norman only carried the northern South Carolina counties. He didn't carry a single county on the coast or on the West End or in the South. It was basically Greenville, Spartanburg, Newberry, those counties on down from the North Carolina border on down, kind of where we are now, Rock Hill. He didn't carry anything else. And Graham rolled up very impressive, very significant numbers, downstate, low country, you name it, she got it. But the Myrtle Beach numbers that came in were incredible. I mean, Norman carried Greenville by what we thought it would be, 18,000. And we thought on the strength of that, he was going to be able to win. I would have liked to carry it by 20,000, so we were like 2,000 short. But I thought he would carry Greenville by 20,000, and that was going to be enough. It was not, because Graham carried Horry County in Myrtle Beach, where Trump went, by 18,000. Now, we know we were going to get beat there, but never by 20,000 votes. And so, and if you look down at the Republicans that came out, he was getting out R1 voters. So the silver lining here, if you can find one, is that if Trump engages and he is focused, he can still get his voters out. What does that mean to us? Well, that means in the midterms, you got a real opportunity to be successful, and things can change. So as everything has gone on here, President Trump undoubtedly still's got the juice. And look, I was for Norman. I came out gangbusters. I did everything I could do for him. And he was very gracious to me and Dan last night. Dan and I both had a chance to talk to him. And Dan told him a little story, made him laugh. His family was down last night. There was no question about it. I do have to say that in his concession speech, the first name he mentioned was mine as being a patriot and standing tall in the face of, some real headwinds. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a Trump supporter, and I've been with him for forever, since the beginning. Endorsed him in April of 2015, when he was at 1%, big Trump supporter. But in this particular case, I just couldn't see the Darlene Graham endorsement. I couldn't see it, and I don't want any part of it. So look, I'm my own man. I get to do what I want, and they respect that. But Norman was very complimentary of me in that. In his concession speech, and pointed me out by name, and I appreciate that. But that is why we lost this race. As you point now, the next big thing, he also endorsed the Oklahoma governor. He won, came from behind. That was another come behind victory. So President Trump having a good night last night in Republican primaries, no doubt. So this is why you tune me in at 6 a.m., right? This is probably our smallest audience, but where you get the most. It's why I get up to tune me in, and right now, like, Darlene Graham's the nominee. So we all got to get behind her. And look, we got Norman people saying, I'm not going to vote for her, this, that, I'm staying home. Look, stop, okay? The country's hanging by a thread, all right? We can't lose this seat. Darlene Graham, she won. She won fair and square. There was no cheating. She won. Trump backed her. She's going to go to the U.S. Senate. You got to get out and vote for her and all of our other congressmen here in South Carolina. And I expect Congressman Norman to support her and campaign with her, right? She is the nominee, and she did win. And quite frankly, it was a pretty impressive victory. And so it is what it is. We took it on the chin last night. We did all we could do. But President Trump he has the juice. And, had he done for Burt Jones what he did for Darlene Graham in Georgia, Jones would be the nominee, right? But they really wanted to win this race. I mean, when you look at the capital, the political capital that President Trump invested in Darlene Graham, it was significant. He must see something we don't see. I hope it works out. Either way, Graham's a nominee. I wish her the best. She has to win. I support her. I hope we all do. And we got to move on now. The next big thing coming up, I'm telling you, is this midterm convention. This has got to be the reset now. This has got to be where we reset the narrative, cut out the nonsense, and get going. Everything has got to stop now, the fake polls and everything else. It's all got to stop. We got to focus on one thing. This is the November election. We got to hold the Senate. We got to hold the House. And this is not going to be easy, and it's not for the squeamish, and it's not for the whiners, and it's not for the bitchers and the naysayers and the criers and the complainers. Okay? It is what it is. I mean, well, one thing Norman said last night, you know what? It is what it is. Trump backed her. He came to Myrtle Beach. He got out his vote. He got out R1 voters, the lowest propensity Trump voters. He got them out. But see, he did the same thing in Virginia with the referendum. When we were down by 15 or 20, we finally got the president involved, right? He called in my show. Remember that? The eve of the referendum where we were supposed to get beat by 15, called in my show, did a tele-rally, right? Encouraged me to do a bus tour. We did that for 2 weeks. We lost on mail-in ballots by 1.5%. Okay? So he still has the ability to get his lower propensity Trump voters out. And if they see what's going on and they see the calamity that we're going to be faced if these Democrats win, I think that President Trump has the ability to do that. He can still do it. And he proved that last night without a shadow of a doubt. So that is my analysis. That is what happened. And we just all got to move forward now and do what we have to do. Now, a lot of you hate ranked choice voting in Republican primaries. Okay, I get it. I'm for it. Guess what? If there was ranked choice voting in the Republican runoff primary, in the Republican primary, Ralph Norman's the nominee. And there is no Myrtle Beach, and there is no Darlene Graham, and there is no get out the vote, and we save all that money because Darlene Graham, 66% of Republicans voted against her. They voted against her. So if you had ranked choice voting, Norman would have gotten the overwhelming majority of those second place votes, including Fry's, and Norman to be the nominee. So, I don't care how you stand on ranked choice voting for Republican primaries, but here's another example I can give you straight out that the most conservative person would have won. Not the rhino, not the most liberal, not the moderate, like everybody says, because you don't understand it. The most conservative candidate always is going to win now because we have 5 MAGA candidates to 1 rhino. If you looked at the Senate, primary before the runoff, there were 5 conservative candidates, and then there was Darlene Graham. Everyone was to the right of her, not even close. Norman being the most, then Fry. It went right down the line. Lynch, etc. All of them to the right. Norman would have been everybody's second choice. Norman wins. This thing is over. I'm not here, and he's on his way to the U.S. Senate. So you can gripe, you can bitch, you can do whatever you want. You can send caps, things in caps with on Getter, and make a fool of yourself is fine. But the reality is, if there was ranked choice voting in the primary yesterday, 3 weeks ago, Norman's in the Senate. Simple. So you can dispute the facts and send text with caps. Okay, stop. This is just a reality situation. And as mail-in ballots and as early voting, I was ahead of that. I was ahead of mail-in ballots. I'm ahead of this. I'm a year or two ahead of everybody. And I'm sorry. I hate that. I hate, it's like an albatross I carry around my neck. I'm sorry. Now, the next big thing is going to be this convention in Dallas. This is going to be the next big thing. We got to focus on it. Hopefully the fake news will carry it. We're going to be there. We're on Radio Row. We also have a suite at the convention hall. But this thing has got to rock, baby. It's got to rock. President Trump has got to get back to his roots, get back to what turned people out, get back to what he's going to do. And if we can do that successfully, we can get some momentum. We can bring these gas prices down, and we can turn the corner, and we can hold the House And I think we're fine in the Senate, but you got to run through the tape. So that's kind of where we're at. When I get back, I'm going to expose the Canadian scam that's going on and all the fake news going on. That John Fredericks coming live, Rock Hill, South Carolina, where Darlene Graham is the South Carolina Republican nominee. We wish her the best, and she should win this handily. This is a Republican state, no doubt. So the best of Darlene Graham. Thanks for tuning me in. Those of you that tuned me in last night, thank you for that. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network Live, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Michael Coleman in the captain's chair. Dan Hobgood running the show here in Rock Hill. Hey, you stay with us, and we will be right back. Canada, also change in Atlanta when I get back. Keep it right here.
Ponder this. I've recently noticed that the way a person drives may have a direct correlation to their personality. I'm pretty confident that most of you have witnessed this as well. We see courteous drivers. These are people who allow others to change lanes when safety permits. Courteous drivers usually use their turn signals to gesture to others their intentions. They stop at red lights and pay attention when waiting for a red light to go green. There are other drivers who are not so courteous, even aggressive, and get defensive when others try to change lanes. These drivers tend to get angry at others to the point of road rage. What does your driving signal to others? Do you show love and kindness to fellow drivers as the Lord would want you to do? Or do you lose control and take your anger out on others? We are called to be charitable to others even when they don't extend charity to us. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted.
Dolly Parton is exceptional and unique. And I think you can argue what made her different was the intimacy that she created with her audience. She could sing about heartbreak. She could sing about poverty. She could sing about ambition. But she made it feel like she was singing directly to you, directly to a dream you had, directly to a fear you had, directly to a need that you were trying to address. Chris, has there been anyone else quite like her?
There hasn't. I mean, I've sometimes thought, is it fair to call Dolly the most beloved entertainer in the history of popular entertainment? And that's a tough judgment to make, but I think it is, because who else has a 100% approval rating over 60 years? And that's a poll that's never been taken scientifically. But I don't know if you ever met anyone who would say they don't like Dolly Parton. I haven't, and I can't say, you can't say that about Elvis Presley. Going back to Charlie Chaplin, certainly forward to Taylor Swift, there's a lot of detractors. But something about Dolly Parton just made people smile when you even mentioned her name, and let alone when they really thought about what she meant to them. And, so she was not polarized. She stayed out of controversies. Yes, she was thought of as inclusive, certainly an LGBTQ plus icon, and also equally beloved among, the most redneck of redneck people who thought, oh, maybe she's a little too inclusive for me, but I just love her. And that does come out of the songs, as you said. There's such a core authenticity beneath the phoniness that she cultivated. And I remember when I interviewed her, she had a quote stuck with me. She said, I've always thought that a certain bit of what magic I might have in the minds of people was that I look completely artificial. People ask me, are you the real Dolly Parton? I say, there's no such thing as a really Dolly Parton. But even though I look phony, my heart ain't. And people knew her heart. She called herself a big phony again in our interview, but with a laugh, because people did not think of her as that in the slightest, even though part of her whole persona coming up was, boob jokes on Johnny Carson, going from boobs to books, as a philanthropist, so much breadth there in her career and her interests.
But the lyrics were so authentic. The lyrics were so fundamental. Her songs were about things that no matter who you are, a kid in the Appalachian Mountains or, a billionaire on Fifth Avenue, everybody could relate to the lyrics. Everybody could relate to the feeling that you might be losing somebody. Everybody could relate to the need of longing for a certain person, longing for a one true love. I mean, you talk about the inauthenticity. Maybe it was the authenticity of the lyrics that punched through, Chris.
Sure. And, going back to Coat of Many Colors, all the songs that spoke to her upbringing in genuine poverty, and then up through Dumb Blonde, where she started playing with her persona. And I think even though that was like a silly song to kind of start her career with, women especially, but everyone sort of related to that dichotomy of there's a public me and then there's a private me that is really deep and true. And then to be able to writing songs that spoke specifically about her and her persona, but then, of course, I Will Always Love You, a song written about splitting up with Porter Wagner professionally, and yet you would never know that from just thinking this was like kind of the most noble breakup song of all time, that certainly had to have been written about a love affair, even though it wasn't.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You got him. Great to have you. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America, coming to you live from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Darlene Graham, Senate nominee, South Carolina. Good to have you with us. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. We're going to open the phone lines up, and then I'm going to go to Canada and tell you what the scam is going on there and why the Democrats are rooting for the United States to fail on every level. These are sick people. Okay, you're not fighting Democrats. We're not arguing about, what percent the capital gains tax should be, like we did, back in the day, right? Back in the Reagan days or back in the Bush days. No, here's what we're fighting. Communists that want this country to fail and collapse. And that's really what this is about. And then they want to put everybody in internment camps. I mean, I hope everybody out there realizes what these people are trying to do, right? We're going to play Hakeem Jeffries a little bit later on. We got a hot show today. Let's go to line 2, Mel, Saratoga, go.
Yes, good morning, John. I was just curious. I was asking Dan, who was advising President Trump of his appointments and his endorsements. Darlene Graham, in one debate, she fumbled quite a bit when it came down to her not knowing about national security and and Taiwan and the South China Sea. And then, you have Flimsy Graham, who's her brother or sister, whichever, brother. He's over in Ukraine quite a bit, touting the war that we're in over there, which gave Joe Biden the gate to open to deplete our ammunition enrichment. So I'm kind of curious, you like you say, you meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I'm thinking that, she's going to have the same attitude as her brother did, get us in all sorts of wars and, back them and put us in places we don't belong and shouldn't be. Whoever wants to fight, let them have it out. We'll just sit back and watch. As long as it doesn't come to our shores, we don't have anything to concern ourselves with. But that's my opinion of her and what, President Trump with these endorsements and pointing this one, that one.
This is the bottom line. This is what drove the endorsement. The endorsement had nothing to do with her political ideology. The endorsement had one thing. He's going to be able to tell her what to do. It's like he's got somebody in the Senate who he can simply tell what to do. And it's as simple as that. That's why the endorsement. He was not going to be able to tell Ralph Norman what to do. Norman's his own guy. He's going to do what he wants. Everybody knows he's a maverick. I backed him because he's a maverick. And I backed him because I know what he stands for. But President Trump backed Darlene Graham from the beginning because he wanted one person in the Senate, along with Tim Scott, who's lapdog number 2, does nothing either. He wanted another person in the Senate and one person that he could basically control. And he's going to tell her what to do. And that's a good thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'd rather have him doing that than, Chuck Schumer doing it. So it's all good. She won. I told you why. Lamenting over it is wasted now energy. Let's look at the silver lining. He got R1 voters out. This is the silver lining. This is the buried headline that nobody's going to tell you but me. He got the lowest propensity Trump voters out in coastal Carolina yesterday, in a primary where there was enormous fatigue. 4 primaries in like a month and a half or something. So he got it done. And he got him out. And if he can get him out in South Carolina, he can get him out in Michigan, he can get him out in Maine, he can get him out wherever. He can get him out. And so he's got a big agenda ahead of him. I hope he does in South Carolina. I hope we can do that during the midterms because we're going to need his energy. Because he proved again, the polls are fake, nonsense is fake. He got on the phone, he did the get out the vote, they spent the money, he went to Myrtle Beach, and he got the lowest propensity voters out for Darlene Graham, who's basically a twit. He got him out. So, you know what? Let's look at the silver lining. Let's look ahead. Can't lament. That's over. We're on to something else. Okay? Mel, but I do appreciate the call. My horse, hopefully he's going to get in, not this weekend, but hopefully next weekend, maybe Thursday, a condition for him that is on the card as an extra for next Thursday that he will fit into. Hopefully that race will go. Of course, Mel, this is horse talk. I know you're familiar with it. We're keeping him out of claimers. We're putting him in some overnight conditions, and we think we've got one that fits him. Actually, a week from tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Mel, I'll keep you posted. Thank you. Line 3 is gone. Line 4, Larry in Rich Vegas. Larry, you're live. Go.
All right. Good morning, John. Just stand by for a second.
Good morning, Larry. By the way, Larry's our announcer.
I'm sorry about that. Hey, I'm back. You there?
I said, by the way, you're our announcer, so everybody knows Larry's our announcer.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the opportunity you gave me on that. I hope Miss Graham gets lectured on national security in a heartbeat. You see where CIA Director Ratcliffe spent 8 hours in Moscow yesterday? He had an emergency flight to Moscow. Nobody knows exactly what the mission was and what he talked about, but the Russians are actually trying to pull NATO into their war now. They just commissioned out their latest nuclear submarine. And from what I've been able to gather, it looks like he's trying to mobilize 800,000 troops toward the Ukrainian border right now with the North Korean troops he already has there. So I hope she gets a lesson from somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about, and she learns her national security real quick.
She ain't gonna learn anything, dude. She's gonna vote the way Trump wants her. The problem is Trump leaves, then what? This is why I was for Ralph. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she stands for. I don't know what she believes. She's got masks on. She's for DEI. She's not for DEI. She's for she's pro-life. She's kind of pro-life. She's not pro-life. She doesn't know where Taiwan is. Who knows, dude? No one knows. No one knows. Here's why she's there. Trump endorsed her. Trump went and did a rally. Trump wanted her in the U.S. Senate. Trump can count on her. And for 2 years, she's going to do whatever he says. That's why she's there. Yay, rah, pom-poms. Let's go. I mean, that's it. I mean, I understand the hand-wringing. I understand the lamenting. Unfortunately, this is what you guys are dealing with today. Dan and I had to deal with it last night. That's why God made alcohol.
You're exactly right about that, John. Get your show on the road, probably even more than you ever had before if we're going to keep these midterms. I've been positive about them, and like you said, if the president gets involved, I don't know how he does it with everything else that's going on the face of God's green earth right now, but we got to do something, because if we lose the House, we're done. We can save the Senate, but all they're going to do in the House,
all right, let's
just go after everybody.
Break this down. Okay, you bring up a good point. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, we're not going to lose the Senate, right? That's not going to happen. I don't care what the fake polls say or what the New York Times says. Okay, or CNN. We're not going to lose the Senate. There's no math for them. So 1 vote, 2 votes, three or 4, we hold the Senate. Okay, so let's say worst case they win the House. Yep-de-do, rah-rah. Okay, so it's a 2-year TV show. Every day they're dragging people in. Trump, Hegseth, they all get impeached. That goes to the Senate. The Senate doesn't do shit I'm sorry, cut that. The Senate doesn't do crap anyway. They don't do anything anyway. So they're not going to do nothing now. They didn't do anything before, so now they do nothing again. So they do nothing. So what changes? The only thing that changes is their TV show. The danger is 28, because if you get a communist president in 2028, AOC or one of these people, and now you got to, and they keep the House and they win the Senate. Now you have no country. Now you just have to move somewhere, lock the doors, get off the screen, and just hope you can survive until and worry about your kids. But as far as worst case is they win the House. My calculus is I don't think they are, but if they do, nothing will get done. It'll be a TV show for 2 years. Rubio gets a nomination. He wins in a landslide, and then we're back to where we were. Meantime, we got $40 trillion in debt that nobody will deal with, except Ralph Norman wanted to deal with it, and he got beat. So, but look, they still got to win. You got to play the game. In the words of New York Giants coach Tom Coughlin, talk is cheap, play the game. There's a lot of talking. It's cheap. Go play, go win. Trump proved last night he's got the juice. Whether you like it or not, that's the reality of it. He's got the juice. He still's got it with Republicans, and he can get them out. And if he can get them out, this is a base election. If he can get them out, we got a fighting chance to hold the House. That is the buried headline here. Trump got low propensity voters out with voter fatigue in a primary, in the 4th primary in 8 weeks? And he got them out. If he get them out here, he get them out in all the swing states. Larry, I'll give you the final word.
John, I couldn't agree with you more. God bless him. He's still my president. I still love the man, and he's got to do more campaigning, among other things, like you said, because if he doesn't, the House is gone. I believe he's going to be the hinge pin on how we keep the House getting out campaigning. Take a little directive of Ronald Reagan. You put the right people in the right place and let them do their job. And I believe he has the right people in the right place right now. Let them do their job from Hegseth on down. I do believe that Rubio is going to be the nominee.
I do too. And look, all the people, all the people whining about Rubio, saying it's back to Bush or he's a neocon. Like, the guy's performance has been phenomenal. Here's why Rubio is going to win. Here's why he's going to be the nominee. And I love Vance, but here's why he's going to be the nominee. Republicans can't afford to roll the dice, and that's a dice roll. Yeah, he's great, but can he win? I don't know. Maybe. Will Rubio win in November? Landslide. You're not going to roll the dice.
Oh, yeah.
Not when your country's hanging by a thread, not when your kids are hanging by a thread, not when your life is on the line. You're not going to roll the dice and hope things work out. You're going to go for the sure thing, bub. When your back's against the wall and you got a choice, I go for the sure thing and get 80% of what I want, or I can roll the dice for 100, and if I lose, I'm dead. What the hell are you going to do? You're not going for 100%. Unless you're a complete degenerate gambler. Not mentioning
right. And whoever's the Democratic nominee, they're not going to be able to change their stripes, no matter how much you want to paint that barn a different color.
Bingo.
When they go to debate, they're going to show themselves.
You're right. Okay, Larry, my announcer in
All
Rich
right.
Vegas. Larry,
Take
thank
care.
you. All right, let's go to Canada. You ready, Dan?
I'm ready.
Okay. The Democrats are all rooting for the Canadians now. They might as well get rid of the American flag and just put up a Canadian flag. Why are we doing these tariffs? Are we doing it so we can raise prices for Americans? Are we doing it because, we want to retaliate because we're mad at Carney? Why is Trump doing this? Okay, understand the playing field, which the fake news refuses to tell you because they're lying POSs, all of them. And they're all rooting for Canada because anything to hurt Trump and help the Dems, they're for it. So they're going to tell you, prices are going up. Trump's doing another tariff, right? Here's why we're doing it. Here's why we're doing the tariffs, right? Canada is dumping goods into the country. They subsidize lumber. They subsidize dairy. They subsidize industry. They dump it in the United States. They take our jobs away. Okay, that's half of it. Here's the other half. We can't sell anything there. Do you know that let's take one item. United States automobiles. You try to sell a Ford, GM, or whatever they are, Chrysler now, is that it, or Chevy or something? You try to sell a U.S. car into Canada, you go over that border, you know what the immediate tariff is? 25%. So a car that's 20,000 is now 23,000. Car that's 40,000 is now 50,000. That's just one example. I can go on and on and on. We can't sell dairy. We can't sell meat. We can't sell milk. We can't sell cheese. We can't sell anything. There's exorbitant tariffs. They got a 300% dairy tariff. The dairy farmers can't sell a quart of milk there. We can't sell alcohol. No wine. They got a 35% tariff on wine, on liquor, on beer. We can't sell anything in there. They dump the goods here, and we can't sell there. We have no tariffs. They have 35% tariffs. Somebody in the right might tell me that's fair. I mean, finally got a president who's got the balls to stand up to them, and you got all the Democrats whining about it. Oh, they're our ally. Well, they're our ally. Well, why are they gouging us with 25% tariffs, and we can't sell a car in Canada? What kind of an ally is that? It's not an ally. I'm not saying it's an adversary, but all Trump is trying to do is level the playing field. Oh my God, Canada tariffs. Oh my God, we're all going to die again. This guy's got the balls to get fairness within the trade world, and nobody else has done that. Nobody else got the courage to do it. They all just bend over and take it up the you-know-what. And we're tired of this. We're tired of Iran. We're tired of them killing our people. We're tired of them blowing things up. We're tired of the Strait. We're tired of the whole thing. One guy comes in and does it. And now you got the Democrats rooting for Iran, rooting for Canada, rooting for the economy to collapse, rooting for gas prices to go up. This is what we're facing. Only way communists take over is a country collapse. We got $40 trillion in debt and another $8 trillion. Well, it's down to, thank you, Scott, another $8 trillion on the Federal Reserve balance sheet. And God knows what the unfunded mandates are that we have to deal with. Country is on the brink here. It's on the brink. And so we got one guy standing up to everybody, and all we do is bitch. Now, I'm just not getting it. Now, I didn't like the result last night, but it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. And, people saying, oh, I'm not going to vote now. Stop, okay? You want to live in filth and squalor? Well, that's what you're going to get. Right? I got clips to play when I get back. I got Hakeem Jeffries. I've got, wait to see what this guy's. We got Hakeem Jeffries. We've got Larry Krasner. I mean, these guys are not, we're facing communists. And we're worried about, not voting because we don't like something Trump did. You got to take the good with the bad, man. That's why I tell my kids all the time, there's good and there's bad, and you got to balance it out. And for every negative thing that happens to you in your life, for every negative action, there is a positive reaction that's greater and better if you can find it. And this is what we have to find here. There was a greater outcome for this. And the greater outcome is President Trump still has a juice to get out low propensity voters. And that's going to be the key to winning the midterms and holding the Senate. Low propensity Trump voters have got to come out. He proved he can do it in a fatigue primary in South Carolina. That means he can do it in Michigan. He can do it in Georgia. He can do it in a lot of different places. Okay, quick announcement. I'm going to have to make this now. Mike, remind me every single segment, and I have to get ads on. If you're listening to us in Atlanta on AM 1690, okay, that programming, that station is being sold. That programming is changing on September 1st. We will no longer run that station. It's no longer our network on September 1st. So if you like the programming there and you're tuned into AM 1690, right now you want to go and download. You can download our AM 1690 app. You can keep that. You can download the JFN app, the TV app. You got to download the app because you're not going to find us on AM 1690 in Atlanta starting midnight, September 1. We have turned that station over. Just so you know, I'm not there, but the apps will be there. So if you're on 1690, download the app now. I'll be right back. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, trucking the truth across America.
Battle with cancer, a nephew says Dolly is now in the arms of Jesus. President Trump says she really was one of a kind, will be missed by countless millions. As a tribute, he's ordered flags to half-staff for a week. Dolly Parton was 80. Darlene Graham is a step closer to filling the U.S. Senate seat that was held by her late brother, Senator Lindsey Graham. After winning the GOP Senate runoff in South Carolina, she's now focusing on November's general election.
Liberals believe if they can defeat conservatives in South Carolina, then they can defeat us anywhere. Once again, they're coming for us, and the South Carolina values we hold dear.
She's been endorsed by President Trump. Republicans preparing a major showcase for their agenda, the party's upcoming midterm convention in Dallas.
The two-day event will feature President Trump twice, a keynote from Vice President J.D. Vance, and 109 speakers and presentations. Organizers say the program will highlight reshoring jobs, tax relief, affordability, border security, and tough-on-crime policies, including provisions of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Moments of remembrance will also be planned. A 20,000-ticket lottery remains open, with winners notified September 4th. Jason Walker reporting.
From steel to cheese to toilet paper, Canada imposing $20 billion worth of tariffs on U.S. imports, retaliation for President Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are down 2 points, NASDAQ futures off 42. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Any loss of life in a hospital fire is tragic to be sure, but this one is especially so.
The Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences in Islamabad housed at least 50 newborns in a nursery. When the fire broke out, at least one baby was rescued, officials say, while the country's federal health ministers confirmed at least 14 babies died. Rescue officials say the fire began after an air conditioning unit compressor exploded inside the nursery in the gynecology ward. Firefighters quickly responded and extinguished the blaze, and rescue teams began cooling operations at the site. Within hours, Islamabad appointed a multi-agency fact-finding committee with directions to submit a report within 24 hours. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Oil prices, which have been up and down since the start of the Iran war, are falling again amid fresh hopes for a resolution of the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz. News and analysis, townhall.com. Plans for fancy new digs for SpaceX.
Elon Musk's space company plans to spend $100 billion to build a new spaceport in Louisiana to launch rockets. State officials and the company announced the deal on Tuesday. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry lauded the project at a special event to celebrate it. Musk was not there, but he appeared with Landry in a promotional video that played before the Republican governor's speech. The spaceport would be located on 125,000 acres of land along Louisiana's southern coast, about 200 miles west of New Orleans in Vermilion Parish. Keith Peters reporting.
Evacuations have been ordered in rural Texas, where a wildfire has rapidly expanded to cover more than 78 square miles. The fire broke out yesterday afternoon. It is in a lightly populated area in the north-central part of the state. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. Unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus, concentrate longer, and strengthen recall. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com. Code Godzilla.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. plus free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man about whom John Stamos once said, "Now there's a good-looking dude," John Fredericks.
I'm John Fredericks, your Godzilla, America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Hey, thanks for being with us today. No nonsense, no gibberish. Got to take it right here. I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America. Live from Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're back in D.C. tomorrow. Dan will be back in Rich Vegas in the captain's chair right now. Michael Coleman doing the yeoman's work. Does our till 11 a.m., then gets up, goes home, gets a couple hours sleep, boom, gets up at 4, back in the studio at 5, ready to. Thank you, Mike, for all you do. Appreciate it. And I heard you today when you got on, Mike. It sounded fresh as a daisy. Remember that saying, Dan? Fresh as a daisy. Yeah. Fresh as a daisy. 888-40. John, you want to weigh in? We got plenty to do. And I told you it's a silver lining.
75 coffee, man.
I know. No coffee. Do you have any coffee in there? Do you have 1775 in there? You're not a coffee drinker, are you?
No, I drink hot chocolate and imagine it's 1775 coffee.
Well, listen, I don't know how you did it, because Dan and I last night, we were tired, and I had a little hot toddy, and got my 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But I gave Dan. Oh, you know what I did last night? Dan, check this, Mike. I gave Dan, was like, I didn't get any sleep. Then he took a 4-hour nap yesterday. It takes a 4-hour nap in the middle of the day, like a 4-hour nap. Yeah, I've been so tired. I'm not sleeping at night. I'm like, dude, I got the answer for you, right? So I go upstairs. I go on my shaving kit. I always carry. I give him a REM sleep, right? So we get in the car. I said, look, put this in your pocket, and 15 minutes before you go to bed tonight, you take your REM sleep. It's going to change your life. He's like, really? So I said, yep, go ahead and change it. Dan, did you get the best sleep you've had in years?
It was good.
Right?
Good.
Did you dream?
I dreamed.
He dreamed. Do you know?
Really?
No. But you dreamed last night. Yeah. Why dream? Because you're in REM sleep, fourth phase of sleep, because he took REM sleep last night. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing you could do for your life better then get REM sleep. It's all natural. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. And Dan was complaining about sleeping, even though we got 5 hours last night, 4.5, about 5. If you got to get 5 hours sleep and you have a deep sleep and you're in the REM, you can function the next day. Can't do it every day, but I'm going to give you another one for tonight. In fact, I'm going to give you whatever I got, whatever I'm traveling with, 3 or 4. Take them for a few days and then go order them. And they're very inexpensive and they're really a game changer for you. .com, healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, which will get you 20% savings. So you're going to save 20% and they're going to ship it to you immediately. And you just got 15 minutes before you go to bed. If you travel, you just throw it in your shaving kit or throw it in your purse or whatever. Throw a couple in there. You're good to go. And it's a life game changer. And you feel so much better. Nothing like getting up after being in a deep sleep and your body is rejuvenated. But you need in that deep sleep. And that's what REM sleep does. It's better than melatonin, is it, Dan? It's much better because it's got all natural things in there. Keeps you in that deep sleep. Healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla. Cell.com, promo code Godzilla. And that's going to save you 20%. And if you do that, you're going to be good. Okay. We got a couple of things here we have to do. Now, if you're me and have to say this, unfortunately, a whole bunch of times, if you're in Atlanta and you're listening to me on the radio on AM 1690, WMLB, that and our programming will no longer be on the air as of midnight, September 1. So different programming, different company will be handling it. We have sold that station or we're in the process of to another company. Has to be approved by the FCC. In the meantime, that other company is doing on September 1st what is called in our business a LMA or a license management agreement, which means they take the programming over on September 1. So you will not get us on AM 1690. Now, if you're listening to us on the WMLB app, no problem. App stays. On any of our apps, it stays. But if you're only on the radio and you want to get programming, you're going to have to download either the radio app, just go to WMLB1690.com, or download the JFMN app, go to johnfredericksradio.com, download our TV app, JFMN.TV. There's plenty of apps out there, but you're not, if you're a radio-only listener on AM 1690, that program ceases to exist at midnight on September 1. I just want to make everybody aware of that. You want to call it, I'm fine. We've enjoyed the station. We've enjoyed the Peach Crew. We've enjoyed everything there. But Ann and I have made a couple of long-term strategic decisions with the company as we continue our vision of growth. And Atlanta no longer fit the longer-term vision of the company where we're headed. We're acquiring another station in Nashville. This isn't a trade. It's not one for one. It's just Atlanta no longer made sense for us for a variety of reasons. And so, it is what it is. We got to run a business like everybody else. And we're going to continue to expand in areas that we believe are more conducive to what we're trying to accomplish. And it's as simple as that. Strictly a business decision. 888-480, John, you want to weigh in? 888-480-5646. Mike, we got some clips here. I'm going to start with the Hakeem Jeffries clip. This guy's bat crap crazy, okay? And it's important for all of us to understand where these guys are going and for what purpose, what they're trying to do. So we're going to get to there. Let me see if I can find it. It's going to be number 6, Mike. Number 6, Hakeem Jeffries saying that nobody in the Trump cartel is getting a pass. Hey, they want to put you in jail. You understand that, right? We don't prosecute anybody. Nobody, no arrests, no handcuffs, no perp walks. We do nothing. These people play a game. They want to turn the camps and they want to put you in it. And now they're telling you that. So just, if you want to stay home because you're mad at something Trump did or didn't do, and you want to sit on your hands, understand what's coming if you don't vote. 6, roll it.
Nobody's getting the pass because we're determined to make sure, beginning on day 1, that we hold every single member of the Trump cartel accountable beginning on day one.
When beginning on day one, you mean if the Democrats become the majority in the House of Representatives and you potentially could be the Speaker. Is that what you're suggesting on day one of that event? You will begin to hold everyone in the Trump cartel, your words, accountable?
Well, what I'm suggesting is that if folks have been shortchanging the American people, screwing over the American people, or stealing from the American people, yes.
Define stealing. Right? It's whatever they say it is. See, this is the difference between them and us. You know, all the things they do, no arrests, nobody's held accountable, no indictments, nothing, zero. They make stuff up like they did with Trump, and they're going to do with every one of his cabinet members and everybody else. Everybody is at risk if they win. Because their ultimate goal is to destroy MAGA and put you in internment camps. That's their goal. That's what communists do, right? Communists take over, and the first thing they do is they vanquish their enemies. I mean, they're telling you what they're going to do. They're telling you they're going to take lawfare to a level you never saw before. They're telling you what they're going to do. And you still got people on this chat saying, I'm not going to vote because, you know, Trump didn't do this, or Trump said that, or Trump didn't do this, or so I'm not going to vote. And they're telling you there's no country when they win. And you're next. But yet you're not going to vote because you're pissed off about something Trump did or didn't do. Okay. Your life. I'm voting. That's all I know. Okay, let's get to, here's another one. Let's get to cut one. Here's Larry Krasner. I play these clips. I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm 68 years old. I never in my lifetime did I think we'd be in this position with people like this. Never, not for a moment. Here's Larry Krasner, the DA of Philadelphia, calls for blowing up the White House ballroom. Oh yeah, I kid you not. Number one, take a listen.
I'm going to have a paperweight sitting on my desk. You know what that paperweight's going to be? It's going to be a piece of the ballroom after we all blow it up. That's what it's going to be. In an official ceremony, just so we're clear. In an official ceremony, we're going to blow it up, and we're going to give the taxpayers their money back by selling all the pieces as paperweights, and I will have one on my desk.
And they all clap. Let's blow up the ballroom so that we can have events at the White House for future presidents that are not in a tent. Let's have security for the country. Let's have security for our leaders. But no, Krasner's going to blow it up. And these people win in landslides. Sad state of affairs. Sad state of affairs. But anyway, let's get to John Thune the Clown, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. Here's Thune, who's done nothing. How long has he been there, right? What was he? He got the one big, beautiful bill passed in 2025. Can somebody tell me what this guy's done in 26? Have we passed anything other than naming like a post office? What has this guy done? Now he's, of course, on vacation. So he took time from his 5-week vacation to weigh in on petitions to keep Mandami from the 9/11 ceremony. This is what he's focused on. Not the SAVE Act, not getting all the Trump appointees in, not Senate recess, not getting all these people. No, he's focused on Mandami and some petition. This guy's the biggest fraud in the Republican politics, an absolute clown. Let's go to John Thune, cut 4.
What do you think of the 9/11 families that want Mandani not to attend the Ground Zero ceremony for the 25th?
The question was...
the families of the 9/11 victims, they don't want them to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I can't defend anything that guy says or does.
Okay. Wow. Riveting. Aren't you riveted? Every time you hear John Thune, aren't you fired up? Don't you want to go out and vote, sign 5 people up? Don't you want to go knock on doors, make phone calls, send money? I mean, was that one of the most inspiring couple seconds you've ever seen? Wow, the guy's got such charisma. It's unbelievable. You know what? I was having a bad day, but now that I heard from John Thune walking down the hall, getting back from his 5-week vacation, I'm just fired up. I can't wait. What can I do? Can I get a call app or something? I mean, I gotta help this guy out. What do you think, Dan? I mean, he's the bomb, isn't he? Friggin' clown. Absolute clown. Here's let's get to cut 12. Speaking of Mandami, Mayor Mandami is being sued by a group representing immigrant-owned grocers in New York City over his plan to open 5 citywide grocery stores. So let's open grocery stores subsidized by the taxpayers. Let's open them up in New York City, subsidized by the taxpayers in Rochester and Saratoga, because it's not financed by New York people. And then let's put the regular grocery stores out of business so that eventually now you have shortages and food deserts. That's a brilliant plan. That's what the communists do. Then they'll need 10 grocery stores, then 20, then 50, then 100, until they run out of money, and then there'll be riots. And then they'll blame it on you. See, this is what they do. It's like, let's spend $2 trillion we don't have with Biden. Let's blow up the spending. Let's print $2 trillion in money. Let's get inflation to 10%. Let's raise prices for everybody. And then 18 months later, let's blame it all on President Trump and make that our call to victory. Quite the plan, isn't it, Dan? All right, whatever. Cut 12, take a look.
New this morning, a group representing immigrant-owned grocers is suing New York City over Mayor Zohran Mamdani's plan to open 5 city-owned grocery stores. And Fox Business' Madison Allworth has the details from East Harlem, New York. Hi, Madison.
Hey, good morning, Dana. Yes, the Multicultural Business Coalition. They represent 50 chambers of commerce and multiple small businesses like the one behind me. They are officially suing the city over this plan. Essentially, they are arguing that they're taking taxpayer dollars, like dollars from the business owners behind me, and putting that into those city-run stores, which as a result won't have to pay anything in taxes, which will make it unfair in terms of competition. They haven't done any business investigation as to whether or not these will work, and as a result, they're asking the state to stop this. We spoke to Elvis, who is the manager of this store behind us here. His family has owned it for 25 years. He's featured prominently in the lawsuit because I'm going to spin around and show you this empty lot just across the street from his store. That is where the city-run grocery store La Marqueta is going to go in 2029. That grocery store will open just across the street, and it will not have to pay anything in taxes. He says that alone is going to be too difficult for him to compete with and will put him out of business.
The city pay, I'm paying for him. I pay tax. For him. So it's not good. He don't give me the license for the tobacco, and I have no license for the tobacco. I ain't got to pay rent, I got to pay insurance, I got to pay tax. I never require tax. Tax is expensive.
Now, we reached out to the city for comment regarding this lawsuit, but have yet to hear back. But they have recently walked back some comments regarding government-run stores here in New York. The lead official for NYC Groceries told New York One that they were exploring grants for local businesses to help them compete with the government-run stores. So taxpayer dollars going to city-run stores and to the stores that already exist. But the mayor's office has since walked that back, telling Fox Digital they are not considering grant programs for existing grocers. This location across the street, the city has set aside $30 million. As a reminder, we're talking 5 stores. The city says all of them will cost $70 million. This one alone costing $30. But now they do have some pushback from small bodegas and markets like the one behind me.
Welcome to the communist America, where you have city grocery run stores that will put out regular businesses and put them out of business, especially small businesses, so that you have more government control and more dependency on the government. And then they'll start controlling what you buy. See, that's next. You don't need that much meat. You don't need that many eggs. You don't need this much of this. You don't need that much of that. They'll start. Oh, and by the way, in order to go shop there, you have to have an ID. Don't need an ID to vote, but you're going to need an ID to go to the city-owned grocery stores, which are subsidized by taxpayers that don't live in the city until they run out of money as well. But, he's holding Hochul hostage, so he's going to continue to get the money. Let's go to the phone lines, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. I am your Godzilla in the Truth in America. Truth and clarity, my friends. Why would you buy? How could you tune into something else? I mean, who in America just gave you what I did for the last hour and a half? I broke down the tariffs. I broke down the election in South Carolina. I gave you what happened. I gave you the silver lining. I gave you the buried lead. I gave it to y'all. This is an albatross that hangs around my neck. What do you think, Dan? Dan's a teetotaler, by the way. Dan does not drink. So, when we go to the bar, he gets Coke. That's worse than drinking. At least I get, vodka or something. That Coke's bad. Do you drink that Red Bull stuff?
No, never been one of those.
I never had one of those in my life. Rot your gut. Better off with a whiskey. Let's go to Paul in Georgia, line 2. Paul, you're live.
Hey, John.
What's up?
Hey, I wanted to bring up a point. So of course I'm a little disappointed you're going to be leaving Georgia, but that's okay. I always listen to you on the internet anyway. Good. But I want to make a point before, as my last parting comment. We've got a radio announcer here in Georgia at 12. As you know, this Eric Erickson guy. This guy is such a friggin' rhino. This guy he just goes out of his way to sabotage Trump all the time, and yet he acts like a Republican. It's unbelievable. He'll never take a call from any MAGA people. He deliberately goes out of his way to screen the callers so he doesn't get any tough questions. He argues the point that the election wasn't stolen, even though they pulled the bags out from underneath the table. It's right on video. They shut down they threw all the poll workers out of the counting station, and they had the phony water leak. Oh, but no, there was no election fraud in Fulton County. Yeah, right. What a joke that is. This guy is pathetic, and we're stuck with him in Atlanta. But like I said, I'll be listening to you guys on the radio. He also never gave any of the January 6 guys any sympathy for the way they were treated, for nothing more than trespassing, in jail for how many years. It's just unbelievable what a rhino this guy is. He's a Pence. He loves Pence. He loves all the typical Bushies, the endless wars, and he goes after Trump all the time over complete crap. But, okay, I had to get that off my chest. Sorry, John.
Listen, first
John,
of all,
one thing I wanted...
Paul, never apologize.
That's why I love you.
Never
John.
apologize for
Truth.
getting things off your chest. This is a community. That's why I take all calls. And part of being with us is you have to be able to rant and get stuff off your chest. I mean, it's therapeutic. You got to be able to do it. And doing it, with your family is one thing. Doing it where, millions of people are tuned in is a little bit different. So nobody, especially you, ever apologize for getting something off your chest with me or doing a rant, because that's why we're here, to give you that opportunity and give you that space. So go ahead.
Hey, so I mentioned this a couple months ago about how I think this data center, phony data center story about it is really becoming a problem now. 70% of the people now have been convinced that it's bad in this country. And yet there's reports out of Louisiana where the school teachers in this one county where they put a data center got big bonuses, and their real estate taxes are coming down. This is the opportunity for these counties to save a lot of money, bring in a lot of revenue for for the citizens is tremendous. Just build these data centers in a little valley, stick it in the middle of nowhere in the woods so you can't hear the humming. It doesn't use up water. That's a misnomer. It's a closed system. And you could really save the residents a lot of money. I told you the Chinese have switched from global warming to now data centers as far as what they're funding. They're funding the media, and they're funding these politicians to go against these Democrats, to go against building data centers in America, because we've got a lead on them. So I hope please, John, keep that in the forefront. This thing with Hochul, here's another comment I want to make. She says, we're going to put a year moratorium. Give me a break. It should take a month to decide what the hell to do. A month, not a friggin' year. These politicians can't get crap done. It's unbelievable. And here's my last parting comment I want to make, because I believe DeSantis has done such an unbelievably good job in Florida. Unbelievable. The number of government workers has continued to drop in Florida, and yet there's more and more population. It's amazing what he has done. But here's my slogan: let's make America Florida. Vote for DeSantis for president.
I agree with you on everything you said. And I think DeSantis is going to go down in history as one of the greatest governors since the founding of the nation. Now, it's just amazing. And everybody wants to move there, including us eventually. And it's all DeSantis. And so he's got a future. Don't know what it is. Maybe be VP. I could see, advanced DeSantis or something. Who knows? But should go in Trump's cabinet. But he's got a future. And the guy's been an extraordinary governor beyond anything you can imagine. But it's a good saying. It's a good slogan, and nobody can argue with the results that DeSantis has had. He's been amazing. All right, you're on the John Fredericks Media Network. We're trucking the truth across America. Great to have you with us. We got Cindy in Pennsylvania on hold. We got Todd Sheets coming up in the waiting room. We got Dan Hobgood here running the show in Rock Hill, and we got Michael Coleman in the captain's chair in Richmond. We're humming right along, and we're going to be right back after this quick word from our loved sponsors.
Example, your morning walk, run, or workout at the gym. As we encounter others, often we don't make eye contact, let alone smile or greet each other. Listening to music or a podcast with our earbuds is so much more preferable than having to greet others we encounter. As a result, people are becoming more and more disconnected from each other. So let's start a human connection trend. Here's an experiment for you to try. Put your phone and earbuds away for a day while in public. Try to engage others in your path with a simple smile and a kind hello. These simple gestures will become a powerful force in the world. A smile costs nothing, but can be a powerful tool to brighten the day for others. Let your smile be a light for all to see. It's a gesture of love from the Lord. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Saturday morning, 6 on the radio, 11 on JFMN.TV.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Salty. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs. And I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Well, it's great to have you back. I'm your Godzilla of the truth in America, your Oracle of the deplorables. Thanks for being with us live in Rock Hill. Well, the doomers and panicans are out there all over the chat. Why are you guys so negative? I told you the positive lining. Look, I was disappointed that Norman didn't win. We came down here. We campaigned for him. We supported him. We endorsed him, right? I want to, but it is what it is. But I told you the silver lining. I told you Trump came and got out R1 voters. Now, if you don't know what an R1 voter is, that is the lowest propensity Trump voter out there. The ones that we're afraid aren't going to turn out and who we can win. And they turned out. 100,000 of them turned out that nobody saw coming, and that's why Darlene won. And so that's the facts. That is what happened. Forget the polls, forget the nonsense that goes on out there. Trump turned him out, and he turned him out with the vote, turned him out with phone calls, turned him out with a rally. He got to the R voters, and he got him out in a sleepy primary with voter fatigue. If you're going to take something negative, that's fine. I was disappointed in Norman's defeat, but this is really the big story of last night is Trump has the juice to get the base out. He was not on the ballot. In fact, they went and turned out for Darlene Graham, who can't find Taiwan on a map and embarrassed herself in that campaign. He still turned out for her, for him. So this idea that he can't turn anybody out and he's done and the Pagans and the doomsayers, like, stick it, man. You guys are not getting it. All you got to do is look, facts don't lie. These voters came out, R1 voters came out, and the Norman campaign never saw it coming. And they told me that last night. They never saw that coming. Their model was off by 100,000 votes. And where did the 100,000 come from? R1, R2. Not R3 and 4. R1, R2. That's lowest propensity Trump voters. So they got him out. Okay. Now, this segment is brought to you by our good friends at the vaping industry. Why do we love the vaping industry? Because they're all they're small business owners. But look, folks, the bottom line is I'm for choice. I'm for choice. And a lot of us that were smokers like me, packing a day, not good. I needed vaping. And I still vape once in a while. But it's my choice. Why should that choice be taken from me? You got to be 21 to vape. And the vape industry is one of the greatest small business operators out there. And President Trump campaigned for the vape vote, and he got it. And all we ask that the president do is support the vaping industry because it is a choice that people should have. And of course, they're being challenged by big tobacco, the cancer stickers that, they say one thing and they do another. So I ask everybody to be with me here in encouraging the president to continue to support the vaping industry. Just go to the Vapor Technology Association. Just go to vaportechnology.org, vaportechnology.org. And this message was paid for and authorized by the Vapor Technology Association. Okay, we got Todd coming up. Let's get to Cindy in Pennsylvania. Cindy, you're.
Hi. I wanted to put in my opinion on who should run for president. I like them all, J.D. Vance, Rubio, DeSantis. But I think J.D. Vance is just not his time, kind of like it wasn't DeSantis' time when he ran against Trump. But I would vote for any of them, but my pick would be Marco Rubio, and I'd love to see him pick up Sarah Huckabee Sanders as a vice president. Also, since I'm from Pennsylvania, I wanted to go back to the Pennsylvania posse, and I'm really hoping to see Dallas on there again, Dallas Gephardt, because he is so knowledgeable, and he can tell you exactly what's going on in Harrisburg. And I know when he was on, he didn't have his lighting and backdrop light, but I mean, he's only in his 20s, and your show was probably the first show like that he ever did. That guy comes to everything in the county. He doesn't even have an opponent, but he shows up and talks to his constituents. He did what you said about going door to door when he was running. I mean, he did it himself, and we went to a gun rally one time in Harrisburg, and which wasn't very well attended, and Dallas came out to see if any of his constituents were there. He came down and talked to you. I mean, that guy is just excellent, and I think you'd be missing a good opportunity if he didn't get back. So thank you.
I tell you what I'm going to do, Cindy. At the 8 o'clock break, I'm going to call him. I'm going to tell him I had a caller, Cindy, that wants you on the Pennsylvania posse, and I'll give him an invitation to be a panelist. I'll ask him to invest in some lights. I'll send him the link, and we'll go from there. And I'll say your name, and I'll say you called and you want him on, and I'll do that at 8. And if he answers the phone and accepts, I'll tell you when I get back on at 8:10. How's that?
Thank you very much.
You call on my show, you get action. Everybody else talks. Oh, by the way, who is that guy that they were saying he screens the calls? Who is that? Eric Erickson? Oh, what fun is that, Dan? I mean, what fun? Obviously, we get prank callers, right? So we get those, and it's a waste of our time. So we have to screen those. But we don't screen calls for, what their opinion is or if they're arguing with me about something. We never do that. What fun is it if you're screening the calls and all you want to do is talk to, people that are sycophants? That's no fun, right? Echo chamber. It's like boring, right? I want to hear all voices, which means Anthony should call in today. Anthony, I know you're tuned in. Call in and do your normal Anthony bitch and moan and complain. And so we can just get through it and get it off our plate. You can get it off your chest. Telling me that Trump hasn't done anything. Trump sucks. We're all going to lose. Everybody talked to us staying home. They're all voting for the communists. I mean, it's very uplifting and inspiring. But we still take your call, dude. And we give you a platform because we're all about the community here. Todd Sheets knows that. Speaking of Todd Sheets, guess who's on the line? Guess who's joining us? Our good friend Todd Sheets. Todd, thanks for being with us.
John, it's great to be with you again.
Todd, every time I get you on, you look better, thinner. I don't know what you're doing. You must be vaping or something. But it's all good. Let's get to. I want to get to Scott Besson here, and then get your comment on a lot of different things, and then we're going to get to Canada. How much time I got? 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. Okay, we got to really maximize this time. Scott Besson, 17. Mike, roll it.
The president is making phone calls to world leaders with specific requests to cease their interactions with the regime. We are already seeing results. Over the weekend, comments from Iranian leadership clearly acknowledged the effect of this campaign, and nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation of a withering regime.
Reaction.
Yeah, he could have been talking to the Democratic Party here in America also. I mean, I hear all these guys running around. Of course, they're trying to bash Trump on everything that they can right now heading into these elections. And one of which is that, the gas prices are up. We've got to get out of Iran. We've got to get out of Iran. We've got to get out of Iran. And as we've talked about before, they are the greatest ally that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has right now. And it's very important for people to understand, even if you were against the war to begin with, okay, there could be, a debate over that. We're in a war right now. And this isn't a meaningless war. This is one of the four major, probably the second major rival to America in the world, along with China. And if we walk away from this at this point in time and hand them control of the Strait of Hormuz, we are basically giving them a toll booth on all of the Middle Eastern oil and an ability to scrape off all of that, which will only make them stronger, make China stronger, and make the alliance that also includes Russia stronger. Walking away is not an option. And, with this move that Trump has taken and Bessent squeezing the economic side of things, this is exactly the right thing to do right now. The other thing that people have to keep in mind, we've seen a couple of leading Iranian officials over the last few days come out, the moderates, and say, we need to find an end to this war because it is strangling us economically. So there is an admission coming from within the moderate part of the regime and within Iran of how successful this economic warfare is. This is exactly the right thing for Trump to do. He's trying to keep oil prices from going crazy while he works to finish the job with the minimal cost to everybody. It's the perfect strategy. I'm optimistic about it and very hopeful that we will stick with this until they finally give in.
I think there's a level of resolve and patience that we haven't seen before, and we stopped the ridiculous MOUs and negotiation, and they're desperate for a deal, and kind of the bluster nonsense that went on. Just to what you said, let's get to cut 13. Here is Trey Yingst basically saying exactly what Todd Sheets just did in a little bit of a different way. Cut 13. Mike, if you can put that up for us.
The United States is set to unleash new economic sanctions against Iran to pressure the regime in Tehran. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent wrote on Sunday, President Donald Trump and the overwhelming might of our military have significantly dismantled Iran's military capabilities and weakened its nuclear program. Now we are entering the end game. At dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. The economic pressure comes as the Iranian rial crossed 2 million to $1, a historic low for the country's currency. The head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council responded on X, saying if the economic war continues, not a single drop of oil will be exported, neither through the Strait of Hormuz nor anywhere in the Persian Gulf. Iran will regard any country's participation in or support for America's economic war against the Iranian people as an act of war. Despite this statement, reports do indicate that crossings through the Strait of Hormuz are up 400% over the last 2 weeks. The United States is overseeing vessels out of the Persian Gulf through a safer southern passage. The passage does allow for millions of barrels of crude oil to be exported each day. Still, the Iranians remain defiant.
The fact that the United States has once again moved from military threats, saying that it will strike and so on, to reviving its old plans shows that they are truly desperate and have no solution when it comes to the great Iranian nation.
It's Baghdad Bob, baby. Let's go. They have no money. The economy is collapsing. The riyal, whatever their currency is at an all-time low. It's trading $2 million for $1. There's inflation rampant. There's food shortages, but hey, they're winning the war. They're winning. I'd hate to see what happened if they were actually losing, Todd.
Well, yeah, and that guy sounded like he could have been in the Democratic Party here in America, right? I mean, you couldn't tell the difference between what they're saying right now. So, look, we are potentially on the verge of an enormous ground-shifting victory here. It may take time. It will take some cost, especially in the form of slightly higher prices. But to walk away right now would be, in my opinion, an enormous mistake, not really an option. I mean, and especially to walk away and give them control of the strait, you know that money that they would make from controlling the strait that would start flowing in by the billions is going to go straight into reinvigorating the nuclear program. And so, the last thing the world needs is a hostile Iranian regime with pursuing a nuclear weapon and with the funding source, a new funding source to go after that. So, I think, there's been some hits and misses as this war has gone on. There always are. But the administration is in a good place right now, pursuing a good thing. There's talk out there, well, they're going to strike back. Okay, we sit back, they strike, and then we've got to hit them harder, and then we withdraw again. And each time they strike something, we come in and hit them twice as hard. And at some point in time, that goes away. So I think, you're not going to hear it anywhere else. But if we stay this path, I think we're on the course towards a historic victory here.
No doubt about it. I think finally President Trump understands there's no negotiation here. You have to basically have this regime collapse. And I'm not sure it's that far away, because now we're getting reports, Todd, of not only the massive inflation, but now food shortages, food lines. People start running out of food and there's no money. It's really tough for the regime. I mean, there's only so many bullets and so many guns before that thing collapses, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another interesting dynamic here. You have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is, the Guard Corps that protects the regime, 150,000 so strong or so. There's an additional Iranian military, much larger. And the Guard Corps has tried to pull them in and bring them on their side of this. But if we keep the financial, side of this clamped down hard enough, you can't pay all of those people with the small amount of money that there is to go around. You could start losing a significant part of that secondary general military apparatus, and they would have the wherewithal to stand up and help this thing, finally come to a conclusion. They're not like the average citizens who are just trying to come out and protest and then getting, defensively shot down in the streets and that kind of thing. So there are some very good reasons to be optimistic here, in spite of everything that we're hearing about this.
Todd, I got 5 minutes. I want to go to the Canadian tariffs. Okay. So again, the Democrats, rooting for the Canadians. Here's what I don't get, right? All Trump said is, look, I want fairness here. We can't sell an automobile to Canada, 25% tariff on try to sell a U.S. vehicle. So they sell our vehicles here. There's no tariff. We try to sell a car, 25%. Dairy, they dump dairy products in the U.S. They hurt our dairy farmers. We try to sell them dairy. They got a 300% tariff. Yes, you heard that right. 300%. We can't sell milk. We can't sell cheese. Then you go to wine. Can't sell that. 50% tariff. Tariff on beer. Tariff on whiskey. Tariff on hard liquor. Tariff on vodka. So we can't sell any of our wines there, any of our liquor there. This goes on. Can't sell lumber there. 40% tariff on that, right? They dump their lumber in here. Finally, the president said, I had enough, right? Either you're going to take those tariffs down, or you're not going to continue to take our jobs away and sell things. And so he does this, and the Democrats are all over him. And they're now on Canada's side when they've been screwing us for 50 years. How does this even make sense?
Yeah, well, this was at the beginning, when we go back to the tariffs over a year ago, and we were talking about these kinds of things. We talked about the fact, there's two incredibly legitimate and important purposes for the tariffs. One is to continue to economically isolate China so we can beat them the same way we beat the Soviet Union, which is through economic isolation, which is forces, their inefficient, dysfunctional elements of their top-down economy to implode, which eventually it will. We can't do that as fast as we'd like because of the supply chain integration that we have and we have to wean ourselves off of. But the second part was to work with our allies to get to a fair playing field, to get away from the types of things you're talking about, which have existed, with Europe, Canada, Japan for 60, 70 years, in spite of the fact that they've all recovered, from the post-World War II issues that they were dealing with. So, I think you're exactly right. We've got to get to where we have a fair playing field and an even playing field with them. To the extent we're using tariffs to get there, that's something that eventually has to happen. Nobody is going to do it besides Trump, because nobody will take on these political issues. And something else to keep in mind. You read the Wall Street Journal, you listen to the news. It's like, why is Trump creating this big trade war again? So far, and this may change as the negotiations get deeper, what they're talking about is roughly 5% of the goods that we trade with Canada that are being subjected to tariffs and that kind of thing. So, at this point, what Trump is doing is saying, I'm going to give you a chance. We're not going to slap tariffs on everything that we import, a relatively small part, to give you an idea. Come to the table and make a good deal, or we'll go deeper. And this is the part of the, Trump's approach to things that people don't appreciate. It's not all in, massive tariffs on everything across the board right up front. It's an incremental process to get them to the table to make a deal.
These tariffs only affect 5% of what Canada exports into the U.S. So 95% of the goods or services they export here are not affected. But, Trump's got a point, as far as I'm concerned, is that there's got to be reciprocity, right? I mean, they have tariffs on our cars. We can't sell a car there, but yet they make cars and dump them here. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so we just want fairness. That's what President Trump is trying to do. And but hey, if you're the Canadian government, you have a willing partner in the Democratic Party and the Liberals. That's basically what you got. I've never thought in my lifetime, I never thought I'd be here where a major party of the United States is rooting against every United States interest imaginable, including they didn't want us to win the soccer game at the Olympics. I mean, it's incredible. They're rooting for the other teams. It's mind-boggling, Todd.
That's the definition of Trump derangement syndrome, right? I hate him so much I'm willing to tank America to defeat him, basically. I've never seen anything like it either.
Todd, I mean, you and I, I'm a little bit older than you are, but never in my lifetime did I think I'd see what I'm seeing now. I mean, I remember I was not a Clinton fan, but I remember when Bill Clinton was strafe bombing. What was it, Bosnia? I mean, I was 100%. I wasn't for it, but he was a president. I didn't vote for him twice, but look, he's straight bombing Bosnia. I'm like rooting for us to get a successful outcome because I'm an American. I'm not a Republican. I'm an American. These people are nuts, Todd. Plus they're communists. I got to go. Todd Sheets. Follow him, Substack, SHEETS. Just Google him there. Not Sheets where you buy coffee. I do Wawa. Just saying. Sheets, SESHEETS. Follow him there. Todd, thank you.
Thank you, John. Have a great week.
Pennsylvania representatives coming up. Keep it right here.
But sounded confident.
South Carolina is truly Trump country.
I'm Ben Thomas.
She rose from humble beginnings in the mountains of Tennessee, achieving worldwide fame and the adoration of millions. Dolly Parton has died. The world is mourning the loss of a country music legend and pop icon, also an actress and an accomplished businesswoman. Dolly fought a brief battle with cancer. She was 80. The Secret Service is taking action as concerns over presidential security remain in the spotlight.
3 agency officials have been placed on administrative leave while the Office of Professional Responsibility investigates possible misconduct. The officials were working in non-law enforcement roles, and authorities have not disclosed the allegations. The move comes after multiple reported threats against President Trump and recent scrutiny of security operations, including a probe into a possible leak involving Vice President J.D. Vance's detail. Ken Lorman reporting.
The U.S.-Canada trade war is heating up with tariffs and retaliatory tariffs. On Wall Street, Dow futures 18 points higher, NASDAQ futures down 71 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
In Spain, it's not only the running of the bulls that draws nationwide attention.
Thousands have descended on a small Spanish town for the annual La Tomatina fruit fight, pelting each other with up to 165 tons of overripe tomatoes. The messy melee takes place over an hour in Buñol, where buildings are covered with tarps. Held on the last Wednesday of August, La Tomatina began in 1945 and became an international attraction by the 1980s. More than 20,000 people are expected to join this year, with 40,000 coming from outside Spain. Non-local attendees pay for tickets, and the first rule is to squash tomatoes before throwing them. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Iran and Oman say their top diplomats have met to discuss a phased approach to managing ship traffic through the strategic Strait of Hormuz. News and analysis, townhall.com. ICE was especially busy last month.
New figures from the Deportation Data Project based at UC Berkeley and UCLA show that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested nearly 50,000 people in July, the highest single monthly arrest total during President Donald Trump's second term. Texas and Florida account for nearly 20,000 of the July arrests. Arrests began to fall in February. After remaining stagnant for months, the number surged in June and then again in July. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Chinese humanoid robot has set a new 100-meter sprint record of 8.86 seconds in Beijing. The milestone was achieved at China's World Humanoid Robot Games, an Olympic-style competition now in its second year. Robotics is one specialty that China has been working hard to dominate. That, along with artificial intelligence. More on these stories, townhall.com.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code GODZILLA for free activation.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
John Fredericks on the dial, cutting through the noise in style. If you want it straight, you know where to go. He rolls like thunder, head to toe. John Fredericks Radio Network. John Fredericks Radio Network. Godzilla of Truth. Hear that roar. Godzilla of Truth. John Fredericks Radio Network. He brings the facts and he brings more.
The final refuge of this regime is the mistaken conclusion of nations that still finance the Iranian threat in the hopes of evading it. It is no longer acceptable to operate in the gray spaces of this conflict. Countries cannot claim they are blind to enabling this activity. Iran's enablers purchase, transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. They welcome Iran's flights and maintain registries on its behalf. They turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers and overland transits. They condone illicit use of their banks, all the while concealing the extent of their complicity. Iran now faces a very clear choice, with only two paths before them: complete global isolation and a subsistence economy, or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy. Today, we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose every other option available to the Iranian regime. Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions. Beginning today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and block every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC and the evil Iranian regime. We are enforcing a zero leakage approach. There will be no minimal breathing space for the regime to rebuild its capacity to inflict terror against America and the world. President Trump has taken action that his predecessors have long deferred. And under his leadership, America is no longer managing the Iranian threat. We are ending it. Our great armed forces have laid the groundwork for achieving the President's objective of preventing Iran from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. They have shown America's resolve to finally end this threat. And the strength of America's economy under President Trump allows us to wage this sustained financial operation alongside the might of our military.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man about whom Sean Connery once said, "Now that's a cool cat," John Fredericks.
It's great to have you live in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Well, Ralph Norman getting beat by Darlene Graham. President Trump pulls it out of the hat. Our low propensity Trump voters got out in droves, and that's how she won in the coast. Big victory for Darlene Graham. More about that later. Just heard from Scott Bessent. I told Mike, I said, play all this guy's clips. I don't know where this guy's came from or why I never heard of him. He's got to go down in history as the greatest Secretary of the Treasury ever. And we've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. We've had some good ones. This guy is, I don't know where he gets this stuff. This guy is really, really good. And what they're doing with Iran is brilliant. They're going to starve the country to death until it collapses. I mean, this is basic. And the oil is getting through the straits. And Baghdad Bob is saying, oh, the straits closed. Meantime, millions of barrels of oil are flowing through it a day. It was up 400% in 2 weeks. Now we understand it's going to be up 800%. They're going to double that as they found a pathway through this southern pathway being escorted by U.S. battleships. I mean, these people are just, and then you got Baghdad Bob coming out there saying, you know, we're winning the war. You don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And this whole thing is going to collapse. We just got to have patience. Patience is going to be the calling of the day. And I don't give this thing two more months. It is going to collapse from within. Joining me now, Jim Pfaff, Chairman, Conservative Caucus in America. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Good to be with you. How are you doing?
Oh, Jim, I'm doing fine. Was not happy about the results last night. I was here doing
Not
my
at
show
all.
live at Norman headquarters. But, you know, we went over this earlier, but for those that haven't tuned us in, I'll just give a quick recap. What happened last night is very simple. The Norman camp modeled about a 300,000 vote turnout. Had they done that, they were very confident of victory. They knew they were going to win Greenville by about 20,000 votes. They won it by 19,000, about 1,000 short, but they were right there. Here's what they didn't anticipate: 400,000 turnout, 30% over what they estimated. Where did those votes come from? Get this: downstate, coastal, low propensity R1 Trump voters. Why did they come out after all this voter fatigue? Trump did a rally in Myrtle Beach. Darlene Graham carried Myrtle Beach by almost 20,000 votes. And around those areas, they did 80,000 get out the vote calls on Monday. Trump did a tele rally, and the 100,000 came from R1, R2, low propensity Trump voters. The president got them out. That's the silver lining. If he can get them out in South Carolina in the middle of August after 4 primaries in 6 weeks, he can get them out in Michigan, Maine, North Carolina, these other states, Iowa, where we're going to need them. Jim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I lived in the Low Country there in Charleston for a while, and so I know the state pretty well. And the difference in the regions is that the Low Country, which is defined as Charleston down to Hilton Head and roughly up to Myrtle Beach from there, that's more your establishment Republican area. In fact, it's kind of interesting. Nancy Mace having that first district in the Charleston area. She's been pretty much a conservative rock star, but she's had to have a balance with the folks, as we would always describe them on the Battery, that are just they're just establishment rhinos. When there are Republicans, a lot of Democrats down there on the Battery in Charleston as well. North Charleston kind of goes both ways. That's Tim Scott's home area. But it's the upstate that really is the conservative entrepreneurial center of that state. And there's a decent amount of entrepreneurial system in the Low Country, but the upstate, Greenville, Anderson, all those areas, I mean, that's where it's happening economically. That's where the real heart of a liberty-minded approach is. Ralph Norman appeals to those people well. I mean, you had the Trey Gowdies and Jeff Duncans in that area of the state, and those have been really conservative rock stars, and Ralph fits that very, very well. So I was hopeful when I heard that turnout was going to be high in the upstate, and it was high. That made me hopeful. But yeah, I think that the story to take from this is absolutely that Donald Trump can be the Energizer Bunny of the one of four, what we call one of four voters. These are the low propensity voters that only tend to only show up in presidential elections, and not always. Those are going to be key to what happens in November. And so the impressive turnout of that style and model of voter is really should hearten Republicans if Donald Trump is on the road for the rest of the year. So we're going to talk about Iran, I know, but and that's important. And I'm really impressed, as you are, with what Scott Bessent is doing. But the message for Americans is not Iran. It is the economy. It is what Donald Trump has done for this economy, what is already happening, and then what can happen, because now we've got business investment that's going crazy. And next year it's going to show up big time. And we need to put that message out so people understand what's going on.
How do we do it?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to repeat. It's Donald Trump rallies. Every time he rallies this, it moves people. This is his last hurrah. He's literally running for president going into November, because he's going to have no presidency afterwards if Democrats have control of both houses, for sure. Which, by the way, the House is most at risk. But the Senate is at risk. I don't know that it's not as great a risk. And actually, I felt it was a lower risk in the beginning of the year. I still think Republicans are going to keep the Senate, but it is absolutely more of a risk now than it ever was. When you look at the numbers, I've got a personal passion project I put up in my weekend time, pollingsource.com. I've got it all laid out there, every poll you can imagine. And when you look at it, and I don't have it bias the polls. In other words, I just straight up all the polls that I can find of most pollsters, what do they average out at? The toss-ups in the Senate right now really are 4. You've even got a toss-up in Texas right now. Now, listen, I think Paxton's going to pull it out, but Donald Trump's got to go to Texas and rally those troops and show what James Tallarico is. You actually, though, have Roger Marshall in Kansas is polling really, really closely right now. Now, what does that mean? I don't know that we're going to lose Texas and Kansas, but these are close races at the moment, and our base has to get out. The real test is going to be what our base does in states like that, because if they're not showing up, then we're going to have really big problems in the rest of the country. On the House side, we got 24 seats that are really up for grabs, true toss-ups. And we're targeting about 26 congressional seats and about 11 Senate seats. 11. Like, I wouldn't have imagined I'd make it 11 Senate seats. But to be candid, it really is, because there's a battle brewing. So Donald Trump showing up and doing that, we're going to target low propensity voters ourselves. That's our goal with this. And that's the whole game. Everybody else is going to show up the way they're going to show up. Democrats have lower right now. I'm excited to say that Democrats aren't as motivated as they were to vote earlier in the year. That is actually changing, and the DSA thing is changing that. So if we could take advantage of that, in a bad
way, right? In a bad way for them.
Yeah, in a bad way for them. Yeah. I mean, the Democrats have the lowest approval rating that they've had probably in their party's history during the era of polling right now. The DSA thing is an ick factor, even amongst some Democrat voters right now. I'm not saying that they're out of the game. They're totally in the game, but that's happening. We have to take advantage of it. John Thune needs to get off his butt, and I want to use the A word, but I won't do it on your family-friendly radio show. He needs to get off his butt and do the Save America Act. We just got a victory at the Supreme Court. That's not secure. Donald Trump's going to be able to do something apparently with the post office, but I'm going to tell you, they're going to come back with another lawsuit. We've got to get this done now, or else we could have disaster.
I agree with you 100%. And Trump proved he can get low propensity voters out last night in South Carolina with voter fatigue. So I agree. This is his last hurrah. And but he's got to get on the road. He's got to get on the road. You saw what he did with this rally. I mean, it was amazing. No rally, Norman is going to the U.S. Senate. No MAGA Inc., Norman's going to the U.S. Senate. No Trump making phone calls and doing a tele rally, Norman's going to the U.S. Senate. All those things he did, and people came out and voted for somebody who basically doesn't know anything about anything, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Care. They didn't care Darlene Graham, Darlene Schmam. They didn't care. They voted for Trump's person. This is what everybody's got to read in here to what happened. This wasn't about Graham. I mean, she couldn't answer a question on Taiwan. She embarrassed herself in the debate. Anything you asked her, she didn't have an answer. She was running around during COVID with masks on and basically DEI stuff. So nobody knows about her. Nobody cared. That's who Trump wanted. They came out, they voted. And he got R1 and R2 out. The Norman camp was stunned last night. I was there, dude. They were stunned because they never saw 400,000 vote turnout and no professional model. And, Rick Wiley ran this thing, and I got tremendous respect for Rick.
I know Rick.
Yeah. You know Rick. I mean, his wife. This guy's been around a long time. These are not grifters. I mean, Rick Wiley is a savvy professional consultant. Savvy, and they ran their model and focused on that with the they have to allocate the resources. They thought they were going to get 300,000 turnout. They got 4. And where did the 100,000 come from? Low propensity Trump voters that they never thought would show up. They just came out based on what Trump did. He can do it here. He can do it around the country.
No doubt. Now, one good thing that I think is happening, and frankly, I'm shocked at how impressed I am because these things are so hard. The GOP midterm convention in Dallas on September 9th and 10th is going to be an important event. By the way, we're going to be there. We're going to have a major presence there. We've got a platinum suite, up there. I was talking as we were working out our details with the organizers yesterday, we just had a phone call with them. Listen, these things take a year and a half to do, right? The standard GOP convention, and certainly some things are off their plate because it's not a formal delegate vote thing, and all those aspects of it they're not doing. But I don't care; these things are really difficult to do, and they've got their act together. If this thing comes off the way I'm beginning to feel that it will, and if we put the right people up front talking and get them in the center, that is going to be a great boost for our turnout. Now, but you're going to have to carry it right after that. There's got to be event after event after event. Donald Trump's running for president. I hope I think he's got that message, but he has to pretend like he's running for president. There's just no other hope for America if we don't get another overwhelming move with those low propensity voters. But this all starts, I think, or not starts, but it's going to have its crescendo, and hopefully it rises above that crescendo on September 9th and 10th in Dallas. It's going to be an important time.
I hope you're going to invite me and Aunt to your platinum suite, right?
You're welcome to come. If you have credentials to get into the place, you got to show up.
We got media credentials, so we got. And they do have their act together better than I thought. So we've got a press box booth somewhere in the arena at the press level. So we got that. We got a media row. We're in the tent outside. I had to do that because you can't get in there at 5 a.m. So I had to go outside. So we got that. Plus we got a suite, our own suite. So at the Fairmont. So we're ready to rock and roll. I agree.
We're going to be at the Fairmont too, so that's amazing. And by the way, Myra's going to be.
Go.
Yeah, Myra's, and we're doing an event with hopefully with some donors in the area that the day before. Myra's going to be there, and she told me on the way up today. By the way, tell John I said hi. He's my favorite, so I just wanted to let you know that as well.
Tell Myra that Ann and I look forward to seeing you and Myra again, and don't forget, you got my number. You can invite me to your donor event too. I'll be happy.
We will. And
Ann and I are looking forward to it because we're getting there a couple of days early. And Ann said an interesting thing last night. I was talking to her on the phone. She's in. She had to go to Pittsburgh today. That thing is just a continual comedy of errors we got going on at that station. But tree fell down. Now wires out. Knows. Anyway, wow. She's like, here's what everybody is discounting, right? Trump's a closer. He closes. So it's like, we're in the horse racing business. We own horses. We got front runners and we got closers. Trump's a closer. So don't discount this guy going on the road and closing this thing in the last 60 days. And I think what I'm hoping is that we reset the message. We do a reset in Dallas, and then he hits the road, and then he starts getting the momentum. Like, let me give an example. I don't know why this came to mind, Jim, but you and I are old enough to remember this. Clinton got out of his convention in 92. I think it was in New York. I don't remember. I think it was in New York. He gets out of his convention, had a great convention. And remember, going into this thing, he was third behind Bush and Perot.
Right.
He got out of the convention, and he had a very good convention. And then he got on a bus with Gore and Tipper with the camera. It was hard not to like Tipper back in the day. And he did a bus tour. And he did all the northeastern states that he had to win. And he went, and they worked their ass off. I said ass. They worked hard. They would throw footballs around. And I thought that was one of the most brilliant moves. He got out of the convention, and they went on the road for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bus. And I thought he got the momentum in that campaign. He took the lead and never relinquished it.
Rolled up his sleeves on his shirt, made it. That's how Al Gore learned that. It was actually Bill Clinton that taught him. Yeah. Listen, when you think about Donald Trump as the closer, we have to have the same heart as a secretariat. Literally, we are the horse. There's no doubt about it. But the thing about secretariat is he always came from way behind and blew past the competition. And then in the Belmont, he not only came from way behind and blew by, he won by I think 22 lengths.
22
That's how. So he didn't give up on the last race and just make it easy. He went all the way hard down. That's the effort that we've got to have here if we want to win. We got to do it.
All right, Jim Pfaff. Can't wait to see you in Dallas. Looks like we're going to have a lot of fun. We got invites. I invited myself to his donor meeting. I invited myself to his suite. We have no shit. We have no
You're trying to buy, use all my food and all my money. What's going on here?
That's what friends are for. Right?
That's right. Well, enjoy seeing you, and Myra will too. So she does say hello.
Look forward to seeing you and Myra. You guys are warriors. Thank you for being with us, Jim Pfaff, Conservative Caucus. People want to follow you, Jimbo. Where do they go?
Go to theconservativecaucus.com. Theconservativecaucus.com.
All right, we'll see you then. Your calls when I get back. 888-480-JOHN. Stay with us.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years for 20% off.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
On Golf with Jay Delsing, hear the stories of star makers like Scotty Scheffler coach Randy Smith.
Randy, thank you so much for joining us today.
I knew that there was going to be something real close to what we're looking at when he was 6.5 years old.
Wow.
I was one of the luckiest guys in the world to be standing on the right street corner when the right bus came up.
Plus the latest equipment news and tips on playing better golf. Golf with Jay Delsing, Saturday mornings, 11 Eastern, 10 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Right now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineers sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right, you're great zombie.
Don't touch that dial.
You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You got him. Great to have you with us, and rocking and rolling. Jim Pfaff, good segment there. Trump's last hurrah. Also, we got so much going on right now. We got a little spring in our step today. You know, you say, well, you just lost a race with Norman. How you have spring in your step, right? Shouldn't you be depressed? Shouldn't you be panicking? Shouldn't you be all, should be a doomsdayer? Shouldn't you be like, war rooming them and all saying how we're going to lose and we're all going to die, right? Shouldn't you be like them? Should be down in the dumps? No, I'm more fired up today than I've been in months. Why? Because of what I told you. Trump got his voters out. Now they defeated us, which means they can defeat the Democrats, right? This seat, okay, was a tough one, but he got his voters out. And I tell you the other thing, the numbers, there's all fake polls. And the fake polls are starting to collapse. When Jim said, I'm taking all these polls and laying them out. It's a joke, dude. There are no polls. It's all a joke. All the fake polls, all the polls, real clear politics, none of them are accurate. None of them mean squat. Okay? It depends on who they tabulate. And they just change the metrics to get the result they want. So the polls don't mean squat, right? But when you look at the Democrats now, okay, they're not going to win Alaska. They're not going to win Texas. They're not going to win Maine. They're not going to win Michigan. These are 4 seats they're not going to win. They're not going to win Iowa. They're not going to win Kansas. They're not going to win Missouri. They're not going to win Florida. They're not going to win South Carolina. They're not going to win any of these races. Let me tell you what they're going to win. North Carolina and Georgia. That's it. Other than, the deep blue states. They're going to win Georgia. That's a hold serve. And they're going to likely flip North Carolina, although that's not a done deal either. So Trump's got to get on the road. He's got to get his message out. Iran is going to collapse. Gas prices are going to come down. I've told you over and over, all the Democrats have is gas prices. They're running on affordability. They can't give you one answer other than a city-owned grocery store. I mean, it's insane. And they're running, let me ask somebody this. I want to take a call on this. Maybe I'll get Dan to call in. Dan, you may have to go in the other room and call in. Maybe get Dan to call. I don't get the obsession that the Democrats have with trans kids. I mean, I get they want to support them. I get, whatever it is. I don't understand the obsession. Can somebody call up and school me on this? And I mean it not in a negative way. Just explain it to me. I mean, this is a crazed obsession with trans kids, which 10 years ago I never heard of, maybe 5. I grew up, I'm 68. I never met a trans person till 5 years ago when I started hearing about him. But this obsession is crazy. Now, the WNB, I told you, because I'm always ahead. I'm always 2 or 1 year ahead of everybody. I told you the league was going to collapse in 27. Like, it's going to implode. It's not going to be around. And after what happened the other day, the league's a joke, right? Nobody pays attention. Attendance is down. Viewership is down. It's a clown show. It's going to collapse and go out of business, as it should. Because it's not a league. It's now a political statement. But what is the Democrats' unbelievable obsession with trans kids that represent, I don't know, 0.5% of America, right? Who's the average person, doesn't want a guy in their daughter's locker room and bathroom and their toilet? What is the obsession here? What is driving this? I know it's a break with the family. They hate families. They hate God, all that. I don't know what it is, but it's insanity beyond belief. Dan, do you have any idea what it is?
My suspicion is that it has to do with the perception, at least, that voting bloc, that alphabet voting bloc, is for this, and if they don't get behind it, they'll lose the support of that bloc. I mean, with Democrats, it's
but you can get behind it without an obsession. Do you agree with me that they're obsessed with it? They're obsessed.
Yeah.
It's all they ever talk about.
Yeah, these days.
And they can't give one solution for anything. There's not one single solution that they have for affordability or anything else. That's why it's so ridiculous. I tell you what, that Scott Bessent's a beast. Let's get to President Trump. Let's go to cut 14. Here's Trump on the working families tax cuts and expanding the 529. These are the things you should be talking about, not the ballroom. Roll it.
And as part of the great big beautiful bill, we have massively expanded 529 education saving accounts tremendously, doubling the annual withdrawal cap from K-12 expenses to $20,000 a year, and allowing families to save the education and money for education at the private or religious school of your choice. So that's something that never happened before. Nobody could even think about doing it. They can't believe it's happened now. And it's largely Linda and her representatives that have done this. And now, for the first time ever, families can also have their 529 accounts to support homeschool education. And then, thank you. And then one of the biggest things of all is what's happened with the Trump accounts, where kids will have money. I mean, every child is given at birth, newborn, $1,000. And you're going to watch that money grow.
And here's President Trump. Let's get to 15. Said as we remove the far left radicals from classrooms, we're taking actions to ensure that every child has access to a first-class education and not DEI nonsense. Roll it.
As we remove the far left extremism from the classroom, we're taking historic action to ensure that every child in America has access to a first-class education. The United States spends more money on education than any other country in the world by double, and our results should be better than they are. I would look at lists where we're rated out of the 40 top nations, we're rated number 38, 39, and number 40 with all the money we spent. But Linda has changed that so rapidly and so drastically, and frankly, it's shocking how fast it's gone under her leadership. 1 year ago, as part of the great big beautiful bill, we passed the Education Freedom Tax Credit, the largest ever expansion of school choice, and we want, thank you, and we want every parent to have the power to send their child to a high-quality school that shares their values. It's so important.
I tell you what, President Trump, he just needs he needs to do what he needs to hit the road, get out of this convention, and just stop the ballroom, stop everything, hit the road. 2 rallies a week, like old days. Run for president. Three rallies a week. Stay on the road. Keep the economic sanctions on Iran. Keep drilling for oil. Get the pipeline. Do what you got to do. Stay on the road. Now, I guess I'm going to get back to the Milwaukee convention. He got out of the convention. He went on the road. We closed. Clinton got out of that convention, went on the bus 2 weeks. He closed. You got to get the momentum, and then you got to roll with it. Anybody that played athletics or anything else, why do you call timeouts in basketball when you really don't have anything to say other than to stop the other team that just went on an 8-0 run? That's why I call timeout. It's like, you learn that in coaching 101. You got to stop the train, right? You just call timeout. Get everybody back together. Get back on defense, right? Let's stop the bleeding. Let's get an open shot. Let's try to get a backdoor play. Let's slow this thing down, right? Because right now they're on a roll. You call a timeout. You regroup. This is what Dallas is. Timeout, regroup. Phone lines open. 888-480-JOHN. 888-480-5646. David, Montpelier, Virginia. David, you're live. Go.
Hey, good morning, John. You posed a question a minute ago is why the Democrats are obsessed with the trans topic.
Yes.
And I see two things. One is unsavory money. A lot of physicians have been making a lot of money on this particular segment of the population. And all these medical societies are in favor of this. AMA and American Academy of Pediatrics, they all have their trans guidelines and so on. Famous athletes like Martina Navratilova has come out and said, men have no place in girls' sports. And that drives these people wild because I guess she's a gay woman, but she's also a famous tennis player. If you look at the big picture, the Marxists need a crisis at all times. They passed gay marriage and the Supreme Court, I guess, said that was okay. Well, that's kind of gone away, but we need a new crisis. And that's very fundamental to Marxist theory. And I guess they got gas prices, but this is in terms of bang for their buck, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck on this topic.
I mean, maybe, I guess you got a point. Maybe it's the doctors. I think that, and I think what Dan said is the LGBTQITF RP2 squirrel furry thing, whatever is going on. I mean, they just need those votes. But there is an obsession with this, and it's bizarre and it's sick. It's really sick. I mean, have you really, most of my audience maybe haven't seen this. Have you really seen a trans person in transition? I mean, have you really seen one?
I have.
Dan,
no, I have not.
One? Yeah, I let me tell you, it's pretty, I don't know what the word is here. I want to be very sensitive to people. It's shocking. I don't know, you might call that good or bad, but it's pretty weird. And it's, you just like, okay, wow. Like, saw somebody not long ago at an event. It was a guy that was a girl that had breasts, but a beard and had all male features, but I guess got the boob thing done and the estrogen and wore a dress and sneakers and a beard. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, okay, this can't be like normal. Like, I feel sorry for the person. I mean, I guess they're happy. I don't know. I mean, if, they have a right as an adult to do what they want, you can't, it was weird. And I've seen like several of these now, and I'm like, I feel sorry for them. Like, I don't know what happened in your life to mutilate your body like this. I mean, look, I got a bunch of gay friends. I get that. Like, I totally get that. But this is different. This is just, this is odd. That's all I can say. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with it. And the only thing I can think of Dan and David is, the Democrats and communists can only be successful if the family implodes. If you have strong families, there's no way they can be successful. The family has to break down. And if you have a solid family and Americans have solid, normal families, I mean, there's just no way the communists win. So I don't know what it is, but I think it's gotten to the point now where it's really going to hurt them. It's going to hurt the Democrats. And look, people are not going to vote for this stuff in the fall. I don't care what the polls show. I just don't care. I just don't know. I don't believe them. I think they're fake. And you saw it in South Carolina. Trump got his voters out, and he's going to get them out again if he does what he needs to do. David, thank you. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. This segment brought to you by my good friend Barry Draper, the Smart Health Plan. If you're tired of getting hammered, and I mean hammered by outrageous healthcare costs, now's the time to check out the Smart Health Company, because what Barry and the Smart Health Company do is they help families and individuals and businesses get quality healthcare coverage without getting hammered financially. They give you complete and comprehensive coverage. Now, this includes hospitalization, surgery, critical illness protection. You also get access to a national PPO network, and it's got a $15 copay, which is certainly affordable. And if you need quick care, they give you unlimited free telemedicine. That's included. Prescriptions, they've got a fully tiered prescription drug plan as well. So you just tier it based on what your needs are. Whether you need an individual plan for yourself and your family or group coverage for your company, or if you're in the gig economy or you run a small business, Mountaineer Healthcare and the Smart Healthcare Plan, they have flexible options designed to save you some serious money. And here's the kicker. Rates can be 30 to 40% lower than unsubsidized marketplace plans for traditional group coverage. That's real savings for working Americans. Call now, 833-752-6742. That's 833-752-6742, or simply go to thesmarthealthplan.com. That's thesmarthealthplan.com. Let me give it to you again. Check these guys out. Get a quote, thesmarthealthplan.com, and it can really, really make a difference. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646 if you want to weigh in. And we want to thank David for his call as well. So one announcement to make again. If you're listening to me right now on the radio in Atlanta on AM 1690, not on the app, not on our website for WMLB, but if you're on the physical radio station, terrestrial radio, WMLB AM 1690 AM in Atlanta, download our app now. You can go to the John Fredericks radio show. You can download that. You can go to WMLB1690.com. Whatever it is, download the app. You can download our TV app, jfmn.tv, Google or the Apple Store. But you got to download an app, because come midnight, September 1, our programming, the John Fredericks Media Network, will no longer be operating AM 1690. You'll have different programming starting at midnight on September 1st. So just want to make everybody aware of that. And if I don't tell you now, you got to download the app now, because you're not going to get us on AM 1690 on September 1st. That is going away. So we've entered into an LMA with another company, and that is in the process of being sold pending FCC approval. And we're running the announcements now on that station. But go ahead and download that app and do it now. Don't wait, because I know a lot of people, they're going to tune it in on Wednesday and they're going to get something else, and then you got to try to find us. So go ahead and download that app now, and you're good to go. Tell your friends, anybody you know that tunes us in on that station, and you're good to go. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Let's get the cut. Let's get to cut. We have cut 8 here, or was that from? Let's get to cut 8. Mike, I'm sorry, I got confused. Here's the U.S. Cattlemen's Association president saying that importing substandard foreign beef is not going to lower prices or help American ranchers. The demand, he says, is higher than the supply. Well, then you got to figure it out. Trump is trying to import meat to bring prices down. Okay, why is that bad? I mean, you're mad because prices aren't down. The president tries to do something, then you're mad about that. Cut 8, roll it.
Tupper, he is the president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. Mr. Tupper, I appreciate your being here. You said you don't put America first by putting U.S. cattle producers last. How does this impact cattle ranchers in this country?
Well, thanks, Peter, for having us. And, we're at historic lows. We have the lowest cow herd numbers since the 1950s. That's a lot of the reason that we have these price increases. We live in a free market system where it's supply and demand. And right now, the demand is higher than the supply. And bringing in foreign beef that does not have to live up to the same standards or any of the things that we go by here in this country, we don't think will one of two things: will not bring down the price of beef in the store, and it's not going to help the ranchers to increase their herd. We think inflation is high. Our insurance costs are out of this world. Fuel costs are up. So every input the American rancher has is higher.
Okay. So what's the solution? See, I love these guys that come on and complain about something Trump does. What's the solution? Right? Beef prices are out of control. They've doubled. You can't buy beef. Cattle herds are down for whatever reason. And so President Trump tries to ease that by easing restrictions on imported beef from Argentina. so that when you get more beef supply in, then prices will ease. So you criticize him on that. Well, Mr. President of Rancher thing guy, what is your solution? What do you want to do? What do your ranchers want to do? How do you get more cattle? How do you get more cows? You want to get rid of the restrictions? You want to get rid of red tape? Like, what is it? Instead of going on, Fox News and whining, why don't you outline what President Trump needs to do to get cattle and cow herds up, to get more beef, so that supply then exceeds demand and prices go down and you can make more money? What am I missing here? All we're doing is bitching. What does that do? What is your solution? The Democrats have not given you one affordability solution other than Mandami, which is government-run grocery stores subsidized by somebody else. What exactly is your solution? I don't understand what I'm seeing. You get on Fox News, you complain about importing beef, you just admit you don't have enough supply to meet the demand, so prices are driven up. Then you complain about the tariffs, that some of the tariffs made prices go up. So we wanted our cattlemen to be able to sell their own beef. They don't have enough beef to sell. So then Trump goes and reduces the tariffs so that we can get the beef in. And now you're complaining about that. What do you guys want? Give us this solution. I always say in my company, don't come to me with a problem without a solution. I might not like your solution. We might have to get another solution, but don't come to me with a problem without a solution. That's not what an executive does. You lead the cattle industry, dude. You got the hat on, you got the shirt, you got the beard. What are you going to do? All you did was whine and complain, and that's all we're getting from our side. Give me an alternative. Trump said, I'm going to import Argentine beef to bring prices down. That's a plan. Do you have a plan? No, you ain't got crap. All you got is get on TV and whine. And we're getting sick of it. We want action, action, action. John Fredericks Media Network. Morgan Griffith next.
Annual clip, up from 0.5% in the first quarter of the year. Known for her music, writing, and performing, and for her work on the big screen, Dolly Parton was also a philanthropist of the first order. Promoting childhood literacy was one of her many causes. Dolly has died following a brief battle with cancer, and her loss is being mourned around the globe. Dolly Parton was 80. The Trump administration is shifting its Iran strategy from military to economic pressure, as officials say Tehran's leverage over the Strait of Hormuz is rapidly fading.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly is telling allied leaders the U.S. is holding off on further attacks for now, while tightening sanctions and using a naval blockade to cut Iran's oil revenue. Mines are being cleared and tankers are moving again. Officials tell Axios that President Trump is squeezing Iran toward a deal while keeping military action available if Iran strikes first. Ken Lorman reporting.
Fresh off her victory in South Carolina's special Republican U.S. Senate primary, Senator Darlene Graham taking aim at her opponent in November.
My Democratic opponent, Dr. Annie Andrews, is the most radical liberal ever nominated for a statewide office by the South Carolina Democratic Party. Her views are those of Bernie Sanders and AOC.
Darlene Graham endorsed by President Trump. On Wall Street, the Dow futures up 32 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
When it comes to our cars, those infotainment screens, turbos, advanced transmissions, and cameras are all great until they fail. And if your car is out of warranty, repairing them can cost thousands. I'm Danica Patrick. If your car is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, make sure you're covered for auto repair bills with an auto protection plan from Endurance. They've paid out hundreds of millions in claims and helped drivers with plans that cover engine, drivetrain, electrical system, transmission, and more. Endurance gives you straightforward claims processing and direct payment to your certified mechanic. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. When your check engine light comes on, don't ignore it because you're worried about a big auto repair bill. Call Endurance and choose the plan that's right for you. Act now and get 1 year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
For your free quote, call 800-292-8705. 800-292-8705. 800-292-8705.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
China has a growing problem with prescription drug abuse among its kids.
Desperate to cope with grueling study hours and strict elimination systems, young people in China are increasingly purchasing cheap pharmaceuticals online and taking large doses in the hope of numbing the pressure. The country's Narcotics Control Commission has warned that the misuse of pharmaceutical drugs is surging amongst minors, and it's taken steps to limit their access to certain medications without a doctor's prescription. But each time regulatory bodies clamp down on one pharmaceutical, teenagers pivot to another drug, making it a difficult problem to target.
The BBC's Laura Bicker. The roller coaster ride continues. Oil prices, which have been up and down since the start of the Iran war, are falling again. Overseas stock markets have been higher amid fresh hopes for a resolution of the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz. News and analysis at townhall.com. GoBot Go, setting a new 100-meter sprint record.
It happened at China's World Humanoid Robot Games in Beijing. The time was 8.86 seconds, beating its robot competitors and the fastest recorded human time from Usain Bolt. Experts are amazed to see such progress in the humanoid robot industry. Robotic engineer Li Jiande says we don't aim to compete with or surpass human beings. What it does well is taking part in children's education, being a teaching assistant, playing with children, and helping children accept and learn about robots. The record-breaking robot fell after hitting the finish line, a padded barrier, with sparks flying from its waist. I'm Ed Donahue.
Evacuations have been ordered in rural Texas, where a wildfire has quickly expanded to cover more than 78 square miles. It erupted yesterday in a lightly populated area in north central Texas. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pier 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs. And I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who says, "Do I look like I have a plan?" John Fredericks.
Great to have you back. I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Morgan Griffith coming up. Got a caller from Dallas wants to comment on my cattle rant. Beef wars going on. Well, see what he has to say. Of course, we're going to be in Dallas November 10th and 11th. Can't wait for that. Midterm convention. Let's go. We got to get the president on the road. He's got to hit it. I want rally after rally after rally after rally after what I saw in Myrtle Beach. President Trump's got the juice. He got his voters out, and he got low propensity voters out that the Norman campaign never saw coming, and they told me that point blank. And Trump got them out, and they were calling them up, and they came out, and they had voter fatigue, and they didn't even know who they were voting for. All they knew is President Trump wanted them to come out. This is really the buried lead of what happened last night in South Carolina, because I was there. We were live. I've been here for 3 days. That's what happened. They expected 300,000 turnout. They got 4. Where did the 100,000 come from? Low propensity Trump voters. Trump got them out. Their apparatus got them out. The phone calls got them out. The tele-rally got them out. And they came out. They didn't know Darlene Graham from Adam's Cat. If she jumped in their lap in a cab, they wouldn't know who she is. So basically, they voted for Trump's pick. Period. And if he can do it in South Carolina with voter fatigue in the middle of August on a Tuesday, he can do it in the midterms. And so that's what we're looking for. That's what we want. Get the convention, get the message out, hit the road, go on the road, 3-4 rallies a week, just like old days. You're running for president again, save the country. If he can do it in South Carolina, he can do it everywhere. Look, I was on the other side. So I saw it. We've been here for 3 days. Never expected this turnout. They got it. It was R1 and R2. It was not R4. Trust me. Now, we knew where those voters came from. And look, Norman got his turnout. He won Greenville by 20,000. Wasn't enough. Unbelievable. So Trump's got the juice. Let's go. 888-480-JOHN. Couple of things. If you're listening to me on AM 1690 in Atlanta, our station there and our broadcast network goes away midnight, September 1st. That station is in the process of being sold. It is a matter of public record. It is under now FCC review. Expect the sale to go through sometime October or November. These things take a while. However, we have entered into a license management agreement with another broadcasting company who will take over programming at midnight on September 1st. So if you're listening to me right now on the radio on AM 1690, you better download our app to get us. You can go to the App Store. You can put in John Fredericks Radio. You can get our TV app, jfmn.tv, App Store or Google Play, either one of those. If you're on the WMLB app, that will stay. That's fine. If you're on the WMLB internet site, that'll stay. That's fine. Nothing will change there. You'll still get our programming. But if you're on terrestrial radio, AM 1690 will no longer carry our programming as of midnight, September 1st. So tell your friends you want to download that app now, because it is completely different, and it is being sold as our company. Ann and I, our vision is to expand in areas that are more conducive to the long-term goals of the company, and Atlanta is not there right now for us. So this is strictly a business decision. As you know, we're in the middle of buying another station in Tennessee, and we're going to continue to grow in the Tennessee market. Now, I want to read you this text here from my good friend, from my good friend Ray in Atlanta. Ray Smith, very accomplished lawyer, says, John, sorry to see you guys are leaving Georgia. I listen to you on the radio every morning. Is it changing demographics? No. Hope you're well, sir. Love your rants on the fake polls. Captain K had a great column on it the other day. Also, our folks need to wake up and put their big boy pants on and stop whining and vote. Thank you. That's what we need to do. Stop whining and vote. And thank you, Ray. All right, I'm going to get to Congressman Griffith in a moment. Let's get to line 4, Jake in Dallas. Jake, you're live. Go.
Hey, John, good morning. Yeah, I wanted to weigh in on the beef issue because I'm in the industry. I sell veterinary pharmaceuticals. I work for a redistributor, and the whole screwworm issue a month or two ago did not help us because that depleted the supply side. But another issue we need to look at is, John, last week, how many Big Macs did you eat?
None.
You sure?
None. I don't eat fast food. Is this a real call, or are you going to waste our time? Get to something meaningful, or I'm going to have to cut the call.
Well, between you and Donnie,
all right, that's a joke. So we try to give people an opportunity, and they want to waste people's time, and I don't have time, and I don't eat fast food. So let's get to Morgan Griffith. Congressman, 9th District. Morgan, great to have you with us.
It's good to be with you. I would love to know. I had to reschedule from my normal 8 o'clock time to this 9 o'clock slot because I had a dental appointment that came up and I didn't want to miss it. So I missed the cattle rant. And I'm just curious as to what you might have said, because I will tell you, no matter what you said, this decision by the president is hurting us in the 9th Congressional District. Now, you have to understand, John, that the 9th Congressional District of Virginia is the largest cattle producing district east of the Mississippi, according to the National Cattlemen's Association. So I have to take their data for it, but I don't think they'd come and tell me that if it weren't accurate. And so a lot of my now the big operators probably won't be hurt that much, but a lot of my small farmers that have, 100 or less head of cattle, they're very concerned that this is going to make it so they can't continue to operate. And that's my concern. I'm afraid that some of the president's advisors took a look at the big guys and not the thousands of small producers across the country. He's trying to do the right things. I support him as you do, but this is a policy that's going to be negative. I was on a teletown hall last night, and the prices generally came up, but a part of that was, and then we get hit with this influx of beef from out of the country. I just think the president got some poor advice. That's my position. I don't know what your position is. I didn't hear your rant, but the president's got to make 1,000 decisions a day. So I don't want anybody to think this is really negative on the president. He's got to make 1,000 decisions a day, and he gets 999 of them right. I think he got this one wrong. I think it's going to be hard on our small cattle farmers across the nation, but particularly in the 9th Congressional District.
So let me ask you this. Let's flesh this out, because I appreciate the call, and I think this is an important issue to talk about. And basically, we just played a clip of the president of the Cattle Association, who said, prices have gone up dramatically because we have the lowest cow herd supply since the 1950s, and demand for beef has gone up and supply has gone down. We both studied this in the 8th grade. Supply and demand affects price. So therefore, more demand, then cattle can be supplied. So price goes up. President Trump said, okay, we got to bring prices down. People want to eat beef. They can't afford to buy it, feed their families. We got an affordability issue. So let's relax the tariffs that we had on Argentine beef and others, get the beef in the country, bring prices down. So that was his short-term solution. So what are you cattle farmers saying? What do they want to have happen here?
I think if they had some assurance that it was a 3-month deal. So if you're looking at a short-term solution, and I don't, who was your witness, by the way? Just curious who was on from the National Cattlemen's Association. I might know him.
Let's we'll get that clip back up. I think that was 8. Why don't you run that for Morgan again, Michael? So he's dialed in here.
But it is true.
Tupper, he is the president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. Mr. Tupper, I appreciate your being here. You said you don't put America first by putting U.S. cattle producers last. How does this impact cattle ranchers in this country?
Well, thanks, Peter, for having us. And, we're at historic lows. We have the lowest cow herd numbers since the 1950s. That's a lot of the reason that we have these price increases. We live in a free market system where it's supply and demand. And right now, the demand is higher than the supply. And bringing in foreign beef that does not have to live up to the same standards or any of the things that we go by here in this country, we don't think will. One of two things will not bring down the price of beef in the store, and it's not going to help the ranchers to increase their herd. We think inflation is high. Our insurance costs are out of this world. Fuel costs are up. So every input the American rancher has is higher.
So, and I agree with the data. And so I would just say, John, that if the president would signal that this is a 3-month or a 6-month deal, then that would increase the American herds because people would feel confident when it's an open-ended deal. It makes the small rancher think, should I sell out? Keep in mind that many of these folks are not as young as the spokesperson was. They're in their late 50s, 60s, maybe even early 70s, and they've got to decide whether it's just time to pack it in. So it may have the reverse impact of what the president's advisors think. Now, again, there is a low amount out there. If people knew that it was a short-term deal to get us through, this period of low amounts of cattle, then I think we would have a more positive outlook. What I heard last night on the Teletown is people are concerned. I have a friend who started texting me immediately after the decision. Her family's been involved for years. They're trying to decide. She's in her 60s. They're trying to decide whether they stay in the business. This other person called in who I did not know to the Teletown and echoed exactly what my friend had said, is that, is this a business we should get out of? So any kind of assurance that the White House could give folks that this is indeed short-term, 3 to 6 months, just to make sure that we can rebuild that supply, I think would be very helpful. And there have been a number of things between droughts across the country, the screwworm fear, which is not, we got to worry about it, but it's not widespread, but it causes some concern. The lady last night mentioned some flooding in another beef area that had reduced the size of the herds. So if people know that if they hang in there, that a year from now, the herds will go back up and they won't have to deal with competing with the Argentinian cattle coming in, I think that would probably make this make sense. But right now, it's the uncertainty that drives the fear amongst my constituents who are cattle ranchers. And then there is the issue that, you bring in foreign lettuce, you end up with things that aren't as well examined. You bring in foreign beef. I mean, I've been to Argentina. I think it's probably a pretty clean country, but still we don't know what their standards are for the raising and so forth with the production of their cattle. And the cattlemen all tell me they're not as good as us. I have to believe them on that. I'm not a cattleman. But I do think that it's something that we need to take a look at. And I would encourage the president to, come out and say, look, this is short term until we get our cattle herds up. And for all the small ranchers out there, like I said, the big guys, the ones who are doing hundreds or thousands, it's probably not that big a deal. But for somebody that's got 65 head, and that's what the lady said last night, and my friend has somewhere in that same area, this is very concerning. They're afraid it's going to mean that they can no longer survive in the small family farm, raising 100 or less cattle.
So I guess my question is, prices are up because supply is down and demand has continued to grow for beef in the United States, regardless of what Tallarico says in Texas, eat veggies or something, roots or whatever he does, beans, good for him. So my question to you is, do you cattle ranchers have a proposed solution for how we get the supply of U.S. beef up? Like, what do we have to do in order to inspire growth in beef supply?
Well, I mean, obviously the price going up, and it had been down for a long time, which had really hurt the ranchers. So making this short term would make sense. Making it clear that it's short term would make sense to help those folks raise, to invest in having more calves or buying calves. The other thing is that we need to take a look at the meat packers, and this is one of the things the cattlemen tell me all the time. We have across the country a huge portion of those folks who do the meat processing and then sell it in the marketplace into your large grocery store chains. You really only have 4 major competitors, so this is a boon for them. But if we could have more input on having those people that do the beef slaughtering and process the meat, if we could open up some more spots, that's something that I've long advocated for. I mean, for some of my small farmers, they have to get on the list a year in advance to take their cattle to a particular slaughterhouse a year in advance. If you have, a few that are ready to go to market a little bit earlier, you can't get in to get them slaughtered. You can go to some spots where you're just selling to friends and neighbors, but you can't get into the marketplace. So fixing that almost monopolistic, and like I say, there's 4 big ones, as I recall it, maybe 3. If you fixed that, if you had more slaughterhouses, that would encourage the small ranchers to increase the size of their herds and to continue raising cattle. And so that's one way to do it. And then making this openness to the foreign beef, make it short term, and then make a decision 6 months from now. If the herds are still at historic lows, then maybe you have to extend it for a few months.
Well, I think that makes sense, and I think you should take that to the Trump administration. I mean, I'm going to make 2 comments here. If meatpacking and the lack of competition in the meatpacking business is such, our trade commission has the ability to say, okay, we're going to anybody that opens up a new packing plant or expands it, we're going to give a tax break to. We're going to lower the regulatory process you got to go through to get open. We're going to make it easier for you to compete in the business so that we can have additional supplies. I mean, we can easily do that. We do that all the time on a statewide basis by, having companies come in where you don't pay taxes for a decade and all that stuff. That's what McCollum did when he got all these businesses in Virginia, just, gave the store away. So we could do the same thing. As far as the president on a limited tariff, I mean, if you look at what the president has done and his belief in U.S. trade and reciprocity, I mean, it's unimaginable to me, based on his history, that this thing would be anything other than short term, because anything that hurts the American producer, car maker, car manufacturer, parts, labor, pipes, right, screwdriver, doesn't matter. I mean, if there's unfair competition, he puts a tariff on it so that he can protect the U.S. interest. So, I mean, but if I were you, I would put something together and take it to the administration and say, here's what my farmers are saying, and just give certainty to it. Look, we're going to do it for 6 months. I think what you said is brilliant. And then we're going to reassess, because we have to give our cattle ranchers and farmers breathing space and certainty in the future to be able to go forward in their business and get calves. I mean, it's
Yeah,
all about certainty, Morgan. You're right about
absolutely, and that's why I say any signal, and I will be taking this to representatives of the White House next week when I get back in D.C. I might do it tomorrow if I get a chance to see somebody. I won't be up there, but the bottom line is that if we give them that certainty, we give them some assurance that this is not going to be the policy for the next decade, and if we can take a look, because if you look at the meat prices, when prices were lower, the majority of the profit was being made by the packers, not by the farmers. So the farmers have seen this increase in prices has been the ability for them to make up for bad years. And while they want to increase their herds, there have been some natural issues that have prevented that from happening. So hopefully, like my one lady said, that they're going to spend more money this year on hay because the drought cut down their ability to grow as much hay for the wintertime. So they're going to spend more money on that this winter. And that's what drives these thoughts. If we can't get a good price next spring, if we're going to have to be competing with the Argentinians who have a much lower cost of living and have they just have a different economy than we have. If we're going to have to compete with the Argentinians and the Brazilians, should we just sell out before we get to the winter and we have to spend all that money on hay? I mean, that's the issue. So if we make it clear that it's short term, we give some ability to make sure that they can make a profit in the future, that's there. And I certainly am going to be proposing this along with, I'm sure, a lot of people from out west, because even though I might be the biggest in the east, the folks out west are giants.
Well, I would say that, and I'm just writing this down. I think the beef question for President Trump, I know that I'm in the queue, as they call it, to get him on my show. This is one of the questions that I will ask him if he can do this on a short-term basis, but I have to write it down or I'll forget.
I appreciate that.
I think I'll definitely do that. But, the dilemma that he's got is, people are complaining that beef prices are too high, and they're high because we don't have the supply. So people complain about affordability and they want beef prices to come down and they can't buy it. And so they're locked out of buying beef for their family. And so the president tries to do something to import more beef, to increase supply, to bring the price down. So if you're in the supermarket, prices are, a couple dollars lower a pound, Argentina beef, you're happy. So that solves that. But then the problem is the long-term survivability of the beef cattlemen with the competition from Argentina and Brazil lowering prices, depleting their margin, and then they're asking the question, should I stay in the business?
Yep. That's it.
But that's the dilemma the president has. I mean, you're going into an election. The Democrats are screaming affordability, affordability, affordability. They have no plan. Trump has a plan to bring beef prices down, but the consequence of that is what you outlined. So it's a tough position.
It is a very tough position, and that's why I'm not hollering and screaming, but we've got to figure out a plan that makes sense long term for the cattlemen and for the American consumer. And I would just say that as soon as we can get these gas prices down, that helps everything. That is the number one push on most families, and I know the president knows that, and he's doing everything he can. And I think the strategy looks like it's working based on the fact that you have the Iranian head of the parliament saying that they can't continue because they can't feed their people. You've got the president saying that maybe that memorandum that Trump did is actually the right way to go. Hopefully we can get this issue resolved in the Middle East fairly quickly and bring those prices down. That will do more than the beef price will to help the American consumer across the board. But I understand the frustration, and I understand, look, when you're in a position like the president's in, you have to make a lot of tough decisions every day, and he gets most of them right. So I still support the president, but I got to see if we can't tweak this policy a little bit, or at least make sure that my cattlemen and cattle women, it's interesting, both the people I've talked to are women about this. And I've talked to the some of the men too, but two of the ones that were the most vocal were women, and they want to continue in this business. It's part of the family heritage going back more than 100 years, and they don't want to close down, but they can't.
I just think you put a time limit on it. I mean, I think you nailed it. This is the thing I love about Morgan Griffith. You bring a problem and you bring a solution. And we were talking about this earlier. I got, everybody in the company If you're going to come to me with a problem, you better have a solution. It might not be the right one. We might change it, but don't tell me what the problem is without solving it or having it. I mean, you basically solved it. 6 months, and then we'll do a review. But the goal is, what do we need to do on the back half of that, to allow our cattle farmers to grow their cattle herds in a way that they can make money.
Right.
And there's a bunch of different things that we can do regulatory wise and things like that, because maybe the cattlemen should hire Terry McAuliffe. Go figure it out. I mean, that guy brought all the business in. Nobody paid any taxes for 100 years or something. I mean, you got to find the way to do this, and hopefully you can do that. Morgan Griffiths with us. We're on the John Fredericks Media Network. Morgan, we're going to extend this a little bit, guys. Morgan, tell us about Scott Besson outlined what I'm calling economic Armageddon on Iran. And the way the president dealt with these other countries, he's like, if you're going to do business with them, you're not doing business with us. We're gonna retaliate. So you got to have to make a choice: side with a dying regime that's killing their people, or side with us. Pick one. There's no middle. I mean, I think that was a brilliant thing he did. But the Iranians have food shortages now. I mean, they can't feed their people. And it's just getting worse. What happens?
They don't have gasoline either, according to one of the reports I read. And the bottom line is that there are different. Their organization is hard to understand. There are different power players, and the ones with the military power don't want to cede anything. They are buying more and more military weapons as their people are starving. And there's always a balance, as the president knows, as you know, and as I know, there's always a balance. And at some point, they're going to have to come to the conclusion that they need to make a deal with the United States, or else they're going to have a revolt from within. But they're very brutal and very. They kill people without any hesitation. So it's hard to get a homegrown revolt going. But they've got to make a decision: do they care about their people, or is it just about clinging to power? And I don't know what they're going to do. So this is the right strategy. We don't want to put boots on the ground inside of Iran proper. So I think the president's chosen the best course, but the Iranian leadership, particularly in their military, they're completely disconnected from reality, and they don't care about proper governance. They don't care about their people. All they care about is hanging on to power and, doing whatever they think they need to do to, die in the name of Allah.
Are you going to Dallas for the midterm convention?
I am not. I'm staying here in the district and working the ground, because it's extremely important that we make sure that I get reelected, that John McGuire gets reelected, that we get all of our Republicans across the finish line.
All right. Well, I honor that and respect that. I'll be going, and I'll be going with the Virginia delegation. What do you think of that?
Excellent. I think that's great. Welcome back.
Jeff Ryer's a good guy. We got iced out by my chairman, Patrick Mara. He kicked Ann and I out of the party, wouldn't let us go because I, work and they don't. So if you actually attempt to accomplish something in Washington, D.C., your reward is you get kicked out of the party. Thank you, Patrick Mara. But having said that, Jeff Ryer, your chairman, heard about it, called us up. What a gracious guy. I go back with Jeff, back with the Tommy Norman days. So Jeff calls us up. Although he is a New England Patriots fan and insufferable by the way.
He is insufferable at times, but he is a brilliant individual. When I was majority leader in Virginia, he ran our press operations, and he's brilliant and funny and a delight to be around. But sometimes he's insufferable, particularly when it comes to his sports.
Oh, God, the Patriot thing is just insufferable, especially when he comes in with the Patriot suit on. That drives you like bananas. But, he doesn't care. He's a Patriots fan. I respect him for that. He's also a cat lover like I am. So we have that in common. But this is just, the guy's a class act, because he heard about our dilemma. I was grousing about it on the air, and he just called me up and he said, look, you and Ann have done so much for Virginia for so long. You come with our delegation. I'm going to make you part of it. You come as guest. I'll give you all the credentials, and happy to have you here, part of our Virginia delegation. Now, tell me that's not a class act.
That's classy. It's
Very
classy.
nice, right?
I hope you have a good time, and I hope everybody has a wonderful time. There's going to be some great speeches. I'll be watching some of it, but I want to make sure I'm on the ground, working hard in both my district and wherever I can be of help across the state.
I feel if we get out of this convention and we reset the dialogue, which I want to reset the narrative, and I think going forward, if President Trump gets out like he did in Myrtle Beach, I told this story where he got all these Trump voters out, R1, R2, low propensity voters, exhaustion with 4 primaries in 6 weeks. He got them out. If he can get them out there, he can get them out of Michigan, Maine, whatever. Do you see him coming out of this convention, hitting the road, doing the rallies, firing up the base? And do you see a pathway for us to turn the corner and hold the House?
I do. Now, it is a narrow path. Now, that said, the Democrats won't get a big majority if they get anything. But I do think we can hold. I do think that having gas prices reduced more than anything else would help us, but we've got to do it. And we only have a few weeks left before voting starts in Virginia, and then a few more weeks before it starts in other parts of the country.
Can you believe that? A few weeks before voting starts in Virginia? It's August. We're not even in September. I mean, the election's in November. When does voting start? Labor Day?
It starts around the 17th or 18th. Don't hold me to the date. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I just don't remember. But it's mid-September, before the 20th.
Is this the craziest thing you've ever seen?
It is crazy. And, even if you love early voting, it shouldn't be any more than 2 weeks at the most.
At the most.
I would argue, 10 days. But 45 days is so ridiculous. And, of course, the Democrats paid a price this year because the Supreme Court of Virginia said, election already started back in September. You waited too long to try to do the redistricting. And, maybe they'll rethink it this next session and shorten that early voting period down a little bit. But it really causes issues. And my opponent in the race has asked for 3 debates. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, there's no way to get 3 debates in before voting starts. How do you do that? I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. I'm going to have to run, John, but I really appreciate it. Thank you for rearranging so I could get my teeth cleaned and make sure that my dental health was good, and my hygienist was fabulous as always. And these are all people I've known for decades, and it was good to get it done, but scheduling appointments are hard to do. So thank you for rearranging.
No problem. Griffith.house.gov. Go to griffith.house.gov. Morgan, thank you for being with us. I love your meeting with the White House. If I get the president on, I'm going to ask him that question, and then we'll be able to get him on the record. So thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for your input.
All right.
Morgan Griffith.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Thank you. Quick word from our sponsors. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're going to be right back live in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Ponder this. We sometimes hear newly married couples discuss their future life as a family. Often this leads to discussions on the number of children they are planning to have. Typically, the number of children ranges from none to 2 or 3. Family life can be planned thanks to birth control and abortion. But the reality is that God has a birth control plan already established for those who love Him and trust in Him. We are called to live a life of chastity according to our state in life. If you are called to a married life, being open to life according to God's plan is a great gift and probably the greatest challenge in today's modern world. It starts by selecting a spouse who puts God and family first. Then, trust in God's birth control plan, where parents are open to life and provide a sanctuary of faith for their family. Allow God, the author of life, to plan your family. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States.
The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
Nobody does it better. Saturday morning, 6 on the radio, 11 on JFMN.TV.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
This is not Detroit, it's the Super Bowl. You've got the best clips. You got another one coming, right, that you got to cut up. We can't wait to see that. But the Dan, I mean, there's so many good ones. The Dan Hawkins one, the Coastal Carolina. I want dogs. I want no cats. I want dogs. Don't be looking in the mirror. Do I look good? Does my shoes look good? My chain look good?
Of course, my favorite. Come to me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I love it. Can't get enough.
And now he passed, right?
What? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was, he passed his time now, right?
Oh, you didn't mean he passed away.
No, passed his time, yeah. No, he's not there anymore.
First Dolly Parton and now Mike Gundy.
No. Where is Gundy now?
He's not at Oklahoma State
anymore.
Yeah. Let's see.
Go find a Gundy clip, Mike. We want to hear the Gundy clip again. Because both of us.
I'm 40.
That's right.
Oh my God! Every time I hear that one, and then the other one I love is the Dan Hawkins one. That is, it's not intramurals. You're in the Big 12. This is D1 football. I got an anonymous letter from the parents that, hey, we're kind of bummed that we only got 4 weeks vacation. And we only got 3 weeks. We're kind of bummed. This is D1 football, the Big 12.
Because the vacation time of a child.
Whatever happened to Dan? Whatever happened to these guys?
Some guys might decide that it's a little too tough, or it's a little too hard, it's a little too demanding. I'll give you a little example. I got an anonymous letter from a parent. It said, we're just kind of bummed out this year that the boys only get 2 weeks off before they start their summer conditioning program. Normally they get 3. Well, we gave them a week at the start of the semester rather than at the end. But here's my point, okay? It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals. You got 2 weeks after finals. You got a week of July 4th, and you got a week before camp starts. That's a month. That's probably more vacation than you guys get. And we're a little bummed out that we don't get 3 weeks.
That's another one. Whatever happened to Dan Hawkins? He was a great coach.
All it says about Gundy is just not.
Gundy was great. Hawkins was great. These are like the best coaches ever.
That great mullet.
Great Dan Hawkins. I actually remember when Hawkins was the coach of Colorado. I bet him a lot because Hawkins was good. I mean, they didn't really do that well, but I loved him as a he's a fiery guy in the sidelines. You know who I've lost all confidence in is the guy that went back to Nebraska from Carolina.
Oh, Matt.
Matt something. Rule.
That's it.
Yeah. I just I don't get him. You know, I really don't. I mean, I guess he always has Nebraska competitive.
He got an extension, I think.
Yeah, well, he's done. I mean,
was eyeing him when.
Yeah, they gave him an extension. You know, you got a couple coaches that have been there a while that didn't make it in the NFL. I mean, Matt Rule is just not an NFL coach, and there's nothing bad with that. Some people can't make the transition. There's a lot of coaches that could make the transition from college to the NFL. Lou Holtz being your biggest example, the greatest college coaches ever, went to the Jets, complete catastrophe.
There's the first problem. Went to the Jets.
Well, even that he was not an NFL coach. He was a college coach. One of the famous coaches for Oklahoma, Barry Switzer, went to Dallas, had mixed success there, but
rode Jimmy Johnson's coattails.
Yeah, but really didn't resonate there. Wilkinson, another one, went to the Cardinals, and then went back to college. I forget where he was, Oklahoma or something, but I mean, he was USC maybe. Great college coach, couldn't make the transition. So there's a lot of them out there. They just couldn't make that step up. Lou Saban, right? Went to Miami. Disaster. Quit at the end of the season, went to Alabama, or in the middle of the season. Bobby Petrino left the Falcons in the middle of the season, quit, left a letter on people's locker, and went to Louisville. So he just couldn't cut it. You know, NFL is different, and not everybody can make the transition.
If Saban would have done better, because the big complaint he had was that his medical staff didn't clear Drew Brees. They were supposed to be the destination for Drew Brees after San Diego, and the medical staff wouldn't clear him. I think Saban says, if I'd had Drew Brees, I never would have gone back to college. So.
Well, that's what he says, but he didn't. You know, his style, professional football is different. I mean, you can't always make that transition. And a lot of these college coaches come up and they just can't, they're not successful, right? And a lot of NFL coaches go to college and aren't successful. It's different. It's a different game. Now maybe it's the same because everybody's getting paid. So maybe now it's different than it was. 888-480, John, you want to weigh in on that?
Real John Gold on the chat says Switzer won a Super Bowl. I might say that Neil O'Donnell won in that Super Bowl. Okay.
That was Switzer won that Super Bowl.
That was the Super Bowl.
I mean, you know,
O'Donnell threw two
interceptions.
Ridiculous interceptions.
Yeah.
The same guy.
But I mean, he did win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, Barry Switzer was not a bad coach with Dallas. But when you think of Barry Switzer, you don't think of Dallas.
No.
You think of Oklahoma. I mean, he was a great coach at Oklahoma. You think of that. And so we'll see what happens with a lot of these coaches. But coaches matter. I mean,
They do.
They matter. The coaches matter in football more than any other sport, more than baseball, more than hockey. Although I think hockey would be number two. Hockey would be number two. If you have a good hockey coach, you're going to be competitive. I mean, it's just different. But you know, basketball, if you got, you know, six guys at 6'9", you're gonna win games. You know, I could win games with that.
I just saw a Jimmy Johnson interview. I guess it was from a while back, but I guess one of the things that perturbed him was that Jerry Jones said anybody could have won a Super Bowl with that team, and that was what.
Well, that was just a diss on Jimmy Johnson. And, that was a diss. I mean, Jimmy Johnson was a great coach.
Yeah.
And he won. Now he bridged the gap. He won with Miami, and then he went to Dallas. He won with Dallas. He won wherever he went. He was just a good football
Well, I
coach.
think if he hadn't left Dallas, I shudder to think, because he made the point that Dallas was the youngest team in the league
Yeah.
the year that they first won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, he was a great coach. But this season we got football coming up. Don't forget, Game on America Sports. You don't want to miss that. That is on at 6 to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, as our sports division expands again, as we're doing that. Also, for 4:30 to 5, we're going to have a half-hour show on Thursdays and Mondays, starting with the first Thursday night football game, which is in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be Godzilla Wins Daily. So we have Godzilla Wins on Saturday, Godzilla Wins Daily. Now, I've had some complaints, people saying, I tune into your network. I don't want to hear sports. I'll do ESPN for that. But we believe in diversification, and we believe there's a lot of similarities in conservative talk and sports. And it's not like we're running, 3-hour shows. I mean, you could deal with a 30-minute pre-game show on Thursday for 30 minutes picking games. You can deal with that. Of course, Godzilla Wins on Saturday. And, Game On, the thing I like about Game On Sports at 6 o'clock is, for three of the 5 days, Dan, they're doing news analysis. And it's sports news and analysis, and they're all conservatives. Sarah's a conservative. Frank's a conservative. Anybody that gets on there, they're all conservatives. So you get a conservative bent on the business of sports in the United States. That's why I think that show has been so popular. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646 if you want to weigh in. We got a couple more minutes before we have to go.
From our favorite former Taft College baseball coach.
And
Vince,
what did Vince say?
Said that he actually coached alongside Dan Hawkins at College of is it the Siskiyous? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. After he left Colorado, went to ESPN, ultimately ended up at his alma mater of UC Davis for several years, and he's retired now.
He's retired. So I love Dan Hawkins. I think he's a great coach.
So thanks, Coach Vince, for the
thank you. Thank you, Vince, for doing that. And Coach Vince, you can hear him Saturday mornings.
That's right.
On Godzilla Wins and starting
all across the John Fredericks Media Network.
That's very good. Very good. And so what would here? Let's come over here a second. What would President Trump say about?
You want me? I'm not exactly camera ready today, but I'll
you have to go on the camera.
Okay,
you just take the mic here.
Okay, there we go.
What would President Trump say about Godzilla Wins?
Godzilla Wins. It's the best. It's the best. Everybody knows it. Okay, it's the best. If I were endorsing a show Saturday mornings for everybody to listen to, it'd be Godzilla Wins. It's got to be Godzilla Wins. It's the best. Everybody knows it. It's got John Fredericks. It's got Coach Vince. It's got Brendan Statler. Gotta love the Statman, Brendan Statler. Not Sleepy Joe. Not Sleepy Joe. It's too early for him. So, but you gotta watch Godzilla Wins. It's the best. It's the best show. You love it. You love it.
Let's get the phone lines. Thank you, Mr. President. We got to do more of those, Dan.
Incorporate that more?
Yeah, we got to do more of that. Paul in Georgia. Paul, you're live.
Hey, John. John, I heard the other day you gave that pick on over 5.5 wins for the Mountaineer football.
Yes.
That is a great pick.
Yes.
I love that pick. Rich Rod, second year. He's bringing in his players now. He's a very good recruiter. He's got this quarterback, the second guy that he brought in. We've got the guy from last year who was good. I can't remember his name. But this other kid that he's got from Oklahoma,
he's good.
This kid is quick, really good. He's so fast. This is I love that pick. I think we're going to do very well this year with this team.
I think we go 7-5. I think we go bowling.
Easy.
But I interviewed him yesterday. I had him on my show yesterday, and I ran it nationally. I ran it nationally at 1 o'clock. You can find it if you go to our YouTube channel. Just John Fredericks. Go to YouTube. Jump there. Go to our YouTube channel. I interviewed him for about a half hour, and I ran it nationally, much to the chagrin of some of our listeners that called me up mad that we cut into Rob. So I apologize for that. But he's just he's a unique guy. And I led with the question like, you made a statement the other day that practice is like patty cake. You guys are doing a pillow fight. And I said, what was that about? And he said, look, we're either going to hit and be tough, or you really shouldn't play here. You got to go somewhere else. But if you're going to play for me, you got to hit, and you got to be tough, and you got to be, you got to be on you got to be physical, or you can't play West Virginia football, and you can go somewhere else, and it is what it is. So he was pretty candid about that. I think we get 7 wins, but I know we're getting 6 because look, we're going to start off 2-0. They're going to start off 2-0. They're going to beat Coastal. Yeah, they're going to, and I think they go to Charlotte and beat Virginia. I think they start off 3-0. Then you only need 3 more wins. And you got Cincinnati, they suck. So you got a couple, Big 12 bottom feeders. So we'll see what happens. All right, Paul, Paul, do you listen to us on the app or on AM 1690 in Georgia?
The app.
Good, because AM 1690 midnight, September 1st, gone. We'll no longer be carrying our network. We sold it. We're in the process of selling it, FCC approval. Let me clarify that. But we've entered into an LMA with the buyer, license management agreement. So if you're listening to me right now on AM 1690 and you want our programming, you got to go to johnfredericksradio.com, download any of our apps there, TV, radio, WMLB, if you have the WMLB app, or you listen to WMLB online. Nothing changes there. If you're on terrestrial radio, midnight, September 1st, gone. Download the app and do it now. Up next, Wendy Bell.